TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Conditional ing. Conditional ing. Situation delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Culture. Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, I think we're back, True Seeker. We're still having audio problems on this end. Somewhere Chris Geo's out there, and one day he'll return to help resolve the situation. But I will do my best. Again, it's just difficult because I cannot hear the audio in and out, the ad breaks, the music and whatnot. But we'll do our best. And in light of what is going on in the Middle East, again, another war among religious boundaries, I thought it would be a good time to have a conversation tonight, and hopefully through this conversation, maybe people will find some humility in their religious beliefs and their spiritual beliefs. But the question tonight is, what makes your religion superior than someone else's? And of course, there are an untold number of religions that have existed in this world. Here in the United States of America, very common religion is Christianity. There's also a good number of Jews and Muslims and atheists and Hindus and more. But so many people, and I'm sure everybody out there listening has met somebody, or you might even be the person, but at least have met somebody who thinks that their religious beliefs are superior to somebody else's. And through that superiority lens, they become more entitled and think that they're better and holier than thou. And, you know, as someone who's always been open about my spirituality, again, I was raised Lutheran, I was raised Christian, and until I was 12 years old, I believed in Jesus, I prayed to Jesus every night. But around that same time, age 12, I started to lose my religion and just think that maybe more, there's just a creator, and maybe the story that's written down in the Bible isn't exactly the truth, but it's related to the truth. It's trying to relate stories to us that are important lessons to learn. And again, my spirituality is that there is a creator. There is a reason to live in a righteous path, which to me is the golden rule, following the golden rule, treating other people the way you want to be treated, and doing your best to stick to that. And again, like I've always said, we have this internal compass that really does tell us when we're doing right and wrong, and we know it unless we're sociopathic, which isn't that many people in the population. And the people who are deemed sociopathic, usually they've become that because of what they've endured as children, more often than not. But yeah, like maybe if people just call in and explain why their religious views are superior to someone else's, maybe if they can just hear themselves out loud talking, they might realize that what they're saying is not true. I honestly don't know how anyone could claim that their beliefs are superior to another person's. And, you know, just to make the point, even though I don't think the story of Jesus is true, I don't claim that my belief is more true than the person who believes in Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or any of these spiritual entities. Um, but again, from living in the United States, you do have a lot of door-to-door Christian salesmen and a lot of Christians and a lot of holier-than-thou Christians. So at the same time, I do put more venom back towards Christianity only from having to deal with it and live around it and be attacked so often by it. But it doesn't mean that all Christians are bad, and I know good Christians who I don't have anything bad to say about. It's just I get tired of the comments that are left continuously saying, Zach, you don't believe in God. And the people who leave those comments, it's like, okay, you just watched my video about Creator and my thoughts on Creator, and your response is that I don't believe in God. And then if you ask those people why they would leave such a comment, they'll say, well, you can't possibly believe in God if you don't believe in Jesus. And I don't think those people realize how annoying that is to do to somebody. It's like, okay, so you're gonna diminish my spiritual understanding because it's different from yours. Again, there's just something really irritating to us as humans when somebody does that, and that's why you see all the war and bloodshed over religion. And it'd be a really easy thing to avoid the tensions among religion if people just didn't judge other people for their religious beliefs. So hopefully tonight we can get some people to call in, because they always, we should have callers all night off the hook based on how often these same types of comments get left. The people with the religious superiority mindset. And again, I just love to hear it out loud, especially from the English-speaking Christians who know the Christian story through the Christian translation of the Bible. Because again, you talk to anybody who speaks Hebrew or Aramaic, they'll tell you the Old Testament's a lot different in the English translation. Same thing for the New Testament. The ancient Greek it's originally written in compared with the English translation, hardly even comparable. So you start to think about that too. It's like, wow, so you have this superiority belief about a religion that's a translation and it's not very well translated. Starting to get on really flimsy ground to be feeling like we're superior. So please do call in. Don't just stick to the comment section. Here's a chance to air your voice out, and maybe tonight we can figure it out. Maybe we can figure it out why one religion's so much superior than the next. And we don't get a lot of Jewish callers. It'd be nice if we had some rabbis called in who believe in the Talmud. I'd love to hear about why the Jew is superior and the Gentile or the Goyim is an animal slave race, and why you're so certain about that belief. There's some people in the world that think that's true. Again, you can't blame all Jews, you can't blame all Christians, you can't blame all Muslims. There's bad apples in every group. But again, tonight, maybe if we can get some people who think that their religion is the most true and all the other ones are wrong, which is another common belief within Christianity, that only their brand is right. Please call in, air it out, and I'll try not to interject. If you can just call in with one concise thought, maybe 2-3 minutes laying it out, that would be excellent. So we got first person tonight on the line. I almost want to say their surname because it's so perfect, but let's go out to 346. 346, you're on.
Oh, no religion over here. I believe in God, though.
Okay, you got the perfect last name.
Thank you.
At least how it's showing up on the call board. I won't say it for your own privacy, but it's funny.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but no religion over here.
Okay, well, what did you want to call in about tonight?
I'm just listening.
Oh, you're just listening. Okay. All right, well, thanks for supporting the show. You have a good night.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go out to 478. 478, you're on.
I want to talk about racism.
You want to talk about racism?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, racism. That's another thing people divide over. I guess tonight you can call in over any. You can call in tonight. Here, real quick. Yeah, you know what? We can expand beyond religion. Just any of the things that people take a superiority stance on, whether it's race, religion. You can call in on any of those things
racism
tonight. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's racism because we're all the human race. So it doesn't make any sense that there's racism.
Okay, fine, racism.
I can hear my voice playing back. If you can mute that, that'd be great.
Here, real quick. Yeah, you know what? We can expand beyond religion as media.
All right, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me.
Once he gets his sound fixed here, we'll go on. When you guys call in, always mute your video, otherwise we'll get the playback. Shout out to 13 Serpents.
I love Zach, man. I love Zach. Zach's an awesome dude.
Okay, you're so all right. So you wanted to talk about racism and
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
We're all the human race. Different races cannot breed. So why in the fuck are we fighting over races? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Religion's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, why are we fighting over religion when we're supposedly praying to the same fucking God? And the God of this world is evil. But just racism, we're all the same race. Different races cannot breed. They cannot make children.
Do you think?
You know what I'm saying?
Different races can breed, you mean?
No, different races cannot breed. They cannot breed. Can a horse and a cow make a baby? No, they cannot.
Those are different species. But
no, they're different races. We are known as the human race.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So you're saying there's only one human race. Okay.
Yeah, we're known as the human race.
Sure.
But we've been taught that we're different races when we're the different breeds of the same race. It's been taught to us wrong all along. Just like the Holocaust. That never fucking happened.
Okay. I see the point you're trying to make.
I've talked to Zach before. Listen. I've talked to Zach before.
That's who you're talking to right now.
Well, he probably doesn't know who I am right now, but I talked to him a couple of years ago.
But you're talking to him right now.
Stroke, so, all right.
Yeah, I am Zach. You're talking to me. But, yeah, I see the point you're trying to make. I appreciate it. And thank you for phoning in tonight. You have a good night, 478.
No, Zach, don't hang up yet, man.
Oh, you want to make another point?
No, it's just so weird that I'm watching you on my iPad and talking to you on the phone. Am I actually talking to you?
Indeed.
Because it doesn't sound like you.
It is me. All right, okay. Appreciate it, 478. Thank you.
Sorry, dude.
I think maybe he's drinking tonight. So we'll move on to the next caller. And 720, what's your thought this evening?
Well, hey, Zach, what's going on? How's your family, brother?
Doing all right. How are you?
All right. Blessed. Everything's good. Haven't, watched you in a while, but I guess you see what's going on in the Middle East, and it ended on the feast day. So it's a sad, because in Genesis it says the earth was filled with Hamas, which means violence in Hebrew. And when you see earth, there's two terms in Hebrew. One's for Israel, the land. The other one's earth for the nation. And it's funny, that was the Torah portion that was on that week, too, when it happened. So once the attacks came. So, but I called you, too. Yeah, around that time, there's actually riots and obviously a lot of violence because we have friends over there and, our ministry. And, yeah, they're still there. So, yeah, it's definitely real. And I don't know what that last brother said. The Holocaust never happened. Well, my uncle has the stamp on him, too.
Hold on. The point you made about Hamas meaning violence in Hebrew and it coming from the Torah, I've seen that point made many a times. What I've been showing about how perfect the ritual is and how it looks like Hamas is controlled by Israeli intelligence, wouldn't that make sense that it was given this name violence in Hebrew?
Yeah, and that was the Torah portion too, and also Noah's flood, and it says the earth was full of violence or Hamas. And remember, earth is also could mean Israel, the land, and also earth, the nations in Hebrew. So, but yeah, there's definitely things that are set up there in the land, and obviously 3 major wars are coming: Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. So that's what they're setting up for as well. And I think, like when I called you many times, that what you do is you expose the subplot or the realm of death, which is called Apollyon and Lucifer, 2/3 of the angels that fell, which bring death, bring violence, lies, and deception. And that's what a lot of the effective Hebrews went in that side, are dark Kabbalah, Kabbalistic, witchcraft, all kinds of stuff. And the other side is obviously, light and the pure light of the Torah, which, like I said, a lot of Hebrews try to walk in, do the feast days, not about violence, but yeah, you're also exposing to the effective Hebrews that went in the dark side, if you want to per se. So, but that's why there's always a battle within man, light and darkness within us and around us. And remember, these people took secret vows, secret cults, secret knowledge, and then go back to 5,000 years and also get it too. Because in Hebrew, they're called teraphim, seraphim, and cherubim. So there's 3 branches of government, and it's almost like a living dead or walking without a soul, doing this Hamas, like how the hell you kill kids, violence, and also use a sword. There's also a ritual of killing. There's, that's also a ritual they do with a sword. In Israel, if you get caught with a knife and you don't have a purpose for it, you can actually be declared guilty instead of innocent. So that's how serious it is over there. But I'm just going on tangent trails. But yeah, that's what the calls here you're doing. But one thing I will tell that last brother, Genesis 1:26, everyone's created in God's image. And also, when he brought up race, Zach, in the whole Torah, there's no such word as race. They say, what tribe are you from? And, even color, and that's also different too in Torah. Race came from the English and other languages. And again, what you expose, that's another divide and conquer strategy. So, but I guess keep doing what you're doing, brother. I sure you're exposing a lot more. But yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot more death, and it's called the red horse or the war horse. And that's the narrative they're going to be on. I'm sure God's going to give you the hukmah or the wisdom to expose it as well. Because, like you said, using an English short or Gematria order, it is definitely, a letter with the word and the number. That's definitely the frequencies. Colors have frequencies too, also. So that's why you see certain colors they use. So also pay attention to that, which I think you expose very a lot of times too. Certain colors on there, that you see, because they also have frequencies with it. So, but yeah, keep exposing the subplot, Zach. I mean, you're doing great. Those that have ears to hear will hear what you have to say. Be a watchman on the wall and a voice, for Yah, and then to see exposed the next season comes. Also, mark around when Hanukkah comes too, and also eclipse on the 28th. That's also coming, and it's going over Israel as well. And it's funny, we had the eclipse in the nations, and the lunar eclipse will be going over in Canada and Israel as well over Jerusalem. So there's going to be more triggered events with those as well. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, a rough winter, brother. But I just keep going to Shabbat, keep going there to Shabbat, my family, try to feed the widows and orphans, comfort those who need comfort, and bless them. And I just try to focus on life. And that's why I check out the subplot. Like, yeah, that's about right. That's about what's going to happen next. So, but brother, be blessed. Keep going and keep doing what you do,
All right,
thank God for the gifts and talents that he gave you.
Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, brother.
All right, you have a good night. Thank you. As we go live, we have a breaking news story that at least 16 people are killed in a mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. We've talked about this many a times. So often when we're doing TFR, which is always on Wednesdays, we're talking about a big mass shooting story. And the 2 days of the week that are most common for mass shootings in the news are Wednesday and Saturday. And that's because Wednesday and Saturday equate with shooting in Gematria. Lewiston, Maine has Gematria of 60 like police, and they're saying as many as 60 people were injured. So the bowling alley Spare Time Recreation has that Gematria that matches Fraternal Order of Police. And I'll do a little bit more on this in real time. But those are the big early observations as the headline breaks. Still, though, I want to stay on the main topic. Again, why is your religion so superior? I feel like there should be a lot of colors on this one because it's a very common comment to leave about these people who are just holier than thou because they have a certain belief system that's the only right one in their own mind. So again, I'd really like to hear people air it out, and I'm hoping as they air it out, they'll realize what they're saying just doesn't make sense. I don't see how anyone could possibly come up with a logical explanation for why their beliefs, which are things you cannot prove, are greater than another person's. Let's go out to 304. 304, you're on.
Yeah, so my apologies. This really doesn't have anything to do with it's not exactly on topic. But Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are supposed to be the three Abrahamic religions. Well, the other day at work, didn't have anything to do, so I just did a really quick, very shallow Google search trying to find the the line from Abraham to Muhammad. Didn't quite find anything that I understood. And then another page, don't even remember what it is, said something to the effect that Muhammad was the one who made that first claim. So that leaves me wondering, is Islam really an Abrahamic religion? Or was that just some, claim by somebody trying to get his 15 minutes?
Islam's definitely an Abrahamic religion. Just ask any Muslim. I mean, they're all religions agree to the story of creation from Genesis. And if you ask a Muslim, they recognize Jesus as a real person too. They recognize him as a prophet like Muhammad. So.
Right. I guess I'm just struggling to find evidence that I understand that it goes from Abraham to Muhammad.
That what goes from Abraham to Muhammad?
Okay, you know how in the Bible it says so-and-so begot so-and-so begot so-and-so begot so-and-so, and you can trace from, Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, from Jacob to David, from David to Mary and Joseph, and then from Joseph to Jesus.
So Islam, Abraham's son Ishmael is where Muhammad traces his lineage to.
Right, and I remember hearing all those claims. So I tried to do a really quick Google search, which I know I needed more time, to find, Ishmael begot so-and-so, begot so-and-so, begot so-and-so, all the way down to Muhammad. And I couldn't find it. Now, granted, I do understand they scrub the internet from time to time, so maybe it got scrubbed to create some confusion. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not able to answer that question, and I was just curious if you had done the research, if somebody else had done the research, if somebody could point me in the right direction, because I don't mind doing it myself. I just can't find it.
Well, I mean, we can do so. It's not like a contested thought. I mean, they're all understood being based in recognizing the story of Genesis, thus making them the Abrahamic religions. So
is it one of those because the masses think it's true, therefore it is? If it is, it is. I've always heard people say it. I've never seen somebody come forth with proof of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, again, but just I don't think anyone's having this debate anywhere. You're the first person really contesting this. But also, it's like, what's the point of what?
I'm curious. I'm not trying to.
All right, you're calling in off topic with a kind of like an idiotic thought because of your poor research. Again, this isn't anything that anyone's contesting. Like, why even make a? This isn't what a debate's about. And just the illogical thing that she's even trying to do. All of these things are based in writings and books. So what's in the book? What's outside of the book? What validity is there to any of it anyway? You have to believe that is the inspired word of God in the book. And then this is... So anyway, we're not going down side roads like this caller's trying to do. I mean, just ridiculous. 609.
Yes. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi, Zach. Oh my gosh, this is Margaret. I'm so happy to talk to you. Hello?
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I was listening to the other lady before, and I just want to point her to the right direction. I want to talk about something else, but this is just a quick thing that I want to mention to her if she's still listening. So, that Abraham had a wife, Sarah, and they cannot have children, right? So Sarah appoints her slave to give a birth to a child, right? So before Abraham and Sarah has a son,
Ishmael.
Oh my gosh, what was his name? Ishmael. Yes, there was another son, and that line is through Muhammad. So if she can follow that, she will probably find the right direction, because this is a long story, so I don't want to talk about that. Okay, but this is my question. Thank you very much for your work, because I learned so much from you. I just discovered you a couple months ago, and I was following Pythagorean numerology, and once I find your program, I have been watching the program all the time, and I learned so much from you, so thank you very much. What I want to ask you, I have been following a plane crashes. And
hold on. Caller, sorry. We ran into the commercial break. Sit tight. I'll bring you back right after the break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Okay.
Apologies.
Facts. Accurate facts. We call it dealing in truth. Accuracy is very important. Here's why. It builds credibility. Credibility starts to weaken if you mess with the facts, the truth, the correct numbers. Now, everybody will give you room for what we call an unintentional error in dealing in facts. Now, see, if my watch says about 7:28, but if you were to ask me what time is it, and I was to say it's 7:30, you would allow me to be a couple of minutes off, right? If I said it was 7:30, but accurately, really, truthfully, it was 7:28, you would give me that error to just quickly say 7:30, right? You would say, you didn't mean to mess up my life, right? By leading me astray with this erroneous information that it was 7:30 when really it was only 7:28. Now, there are times and occasions when you may have to be precise, and it may be a life and death matter.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com. Exchange your life with
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about True Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. We're taking your calls the rest of the way. Again, the topic tonight is why is your religion so superior? And last caller got interrupted by the commercial break. And I do believe it was 609. 609, you're back on.
Yes, hi, I'm still here. I actually don't want to talk about religion, but I have a question about something else. I have been following plane crashes. I have been trying to decode plane crashes and see if there are any similarities. And yes, they are. And I'm actually amazed by myself what I find out. So I want to know what's so special about number 11, 9, 14, and 5, because I decode about, 6, 7 plane crashes, and they all have these numbers in them. And for example, because I'm Polish, and for example, there was this plane crash in 2010, April 10, 2010, when a Polish president died along with his wife and several government officials. And believe it or not, his name, when I checked through Gematria, his name ends in 237. When I add all these numbers to each other, it comes to 9. And then his birthday adds up to 11. Same thing with his wife, and same thing with like several other people in that plane crash. And several other numbers are 11 and 9. And when I check these other plane crashes, I find all these numbers everywhere, 9, 11, 14, or 5. Would you be able to like explain a little bit what is it about plane crashes and these numbers?
Well, 9 and 11 probably just rings a lot of bells with planes crashing. In my research, I usually look for what's very specific about a plane crash to the ritual. Like, for example, Poland's president died in that plane crash on April 10th, which is the 100th day of the year, and Poland in Gematria equals 100. A recurring number that I see, there's actually 2 recurring numbers that I see in a lot of plane crashes, and it's 43 and 97, and the Gematria plane crash is 43 and 97. But I'd have to observe, you brought up 14. 43 is the 14th prime number. As for the number 5, I'd have to go back and look myself. I haven't necessarily documented that number in plane crashes. So.
Because you see, it happens on April 10th. So when I add 4 and 1, it gives me 5, right? And then there was another major plane crash in Poland in 1980, and it happens on the 14th. And there was another plane crash in May 9th. When I add 5 plus 9, it gave me 14. And I find that several other plane crashes, several of them, that the day and the month gives either 14 or 23, and it adds up to 5. Yes, this is what it is. Yes, and he's, President Kaczynski. Yes, and I just keep finding these 11 and 9 and 5, 14, 23 all over the place with other different plane crashes. just want to know what's about it, that it just show up in a lot of places. Like, let's say the plane number is 11, or the flight number is either 114 or 11, or somebody's names add up and it gives me 11, or all the numbers in somebody's name gives me 11 or 9. Very, very strange. I have been doing this for the last couple months, and it all adds up to 11, 9, or 14.
Okay, well, keep researching. You might be on to
right,
a new
thank you
pattern
very
I've been
much.
overlooking. So,
Yes,
but
yes. If you ever do some, yeah, if you ever gonna do some work about it, just let us know, and maybe we can learn some more from you. But thank you very much. I'm very pleased to talk to you today. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
But yeah, just familiar patterns. Like if I was decoding this, I'd notice right away again that the president of Poland died on the 100th day of the year, and Poland's 100. It's like, okay, that's interesting. And that date did have 44 numerology, which is a fateful number with death and killing and assassinations. So 10-4, message received. Let's go out to next caller, 978. You're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Is this Zachary?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm not quite sure how this works. I've never done it before. This is Patricia, otherwise known as Marley Girl.
Okay, thanks for calling in.
How are you this evening?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, could you please repeat, Zach, what the topic of tonight's program is about, please?
Why is your religion so superior?
Okay. First off, who in their right mind would actually call in to profess that?
Well, they leave the comments all the time. People leave the comments all the time about how superior their religious beliefs are. So I figure if they're willing to put them out there, let's hear it spoken and see if it sounds as good as when they're writing it down.
Okay, understood. But I'm just saying that would make somebody, in my opinion, sound completely obnoxious, completely arrogant. But I do understand what you're saying. But nevertheless, I'm just calling to say I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. We've all been deceived over the centuries. We've all been deceived. But my understanding is when it comes to the great I am, okay, he hates religion. That's my spiritual opinion. And it's because what you've touched on, it creates so much division. I mean, even if all these people do believe they're going to make heaven their home, is, the great I am going to say, okay, Catholics over here, Presbyterians over here, Lutherans over here. God's not going to do that. I mean, there's not going to be division in heaven, when we all get to, well, not all of us, but when we get to heaven, that's not how it's going to work out. God's all about love. He's all about unity. So I say that because my understanding is you're either a Jew or you're a Gentile. That's what it comes down to. And it's not about religion. It's about relationship. And I cannot stress that enough. And I say that from my own experience over many, many years, having a relationship with the Most High. I say that from experience. Because you can take away the book. Some call it the Bible. I call it the Word of God. You can take away the churches, but you cannot take away my personal experience with the great I am, with my Father God. So I'm not calling so much to profess that my belief is superior. Because I know what you're saying, people capture that sometimes in the comments, but that's really, I don't even know how they can do that. But I'm just saying it comes down to relationship, not religion. And I believe that God is very displeased and very heartbroken, quite frankly, that there are so many religions, because that's not his will for mankind. That's not his will. He's all about love and unity, and we're all to be brothers and sisters, not, a Methodist or I said earlier, a Catholic or, no, because like you said, that in itself creates division. So that right there, I think if people would just apply some common sense Like I've, belonged and been in ministry for many, many years. I haven't been since I moved 10 years ago. But people, when they're, how do I say it, disgruntled and they leave church bodies, as some people call them, because there's this division within, the elders or whatever, and they leave and they start their own churches. And they just name it whatever, Blessed of the Lord Church, the Holy Tabernacle. That's where we get a lot of division too. So, because I know we only have 2 or 3 minutes, so I'll close out with this. I'll be honest with you, and this is where I feel the Most High has brought me. I don't even refer to myself, Zach, anymore as a Christian. That in itself divides. Okay? And I don't even believe anymore, and this is a revelation that God gave me over 5 years ago, that Jesus is not his name. There was no J. There was no J in Hebrew back when Messiah was born. The letter J has only really been used for a little over 500 years. That came from the Greeks, So, but getting back to, his name isn't Jesus Christ. I mean, is Jesus his first name and Christ his last name? No. My understanding is Christ does mean the anointed one, but that's not his name. So again, in closing, I don't even refer to myself as a Christian anymore. I came up as a Christian in the Catholic Church, but I now profess to be a child of God. That's what I call myself. And you would be my brother, and other believers, male or female, would be my brothers or sisters. And I know, mankind has complicated this so much. I mean, that's an understatement, even to say so much. Mankind has complicated it. And if I'm going to close out with anything, it's not about religion. It's about relationship. So with that, I will close.
Well, I appreciate your call. And the one question I would have is, in the beginning, you said that you would consider that all people are technically either Gentiles or Jews. Why would you frame it that way?
Because, all right, you either believe in the Messiah, right? Yeshua, which is his real name, his divine name, okay, or you don't. So when Yeshua came to be the Messiah for the Jewish people, they rejected him. Not all of them. That's why you have Messianic Jews now that accepted, we'll say our current day Messiah, aka Jesus. Okay, so when they rejected him, that's when the Creator, that's when Father God opened the door for salvation to the Gentiles. So the Jews rejected, again, not all of them, okay, when Yeshua walked the earth. They didn't all reject him, but I'm going to say a good majority. To what extent, I have no idea about that majority. But the point is, because they rejected him, that's when Father God chose, or that's when Messiah chose to open the door to the Gentiles, meaning the non-Jews. So that's what I meant when I said, you are either a Jew, you're Jewish, or you're a Gentile. Now, I already know I'm a Gentile, and I believe you are too, Zach, and I believe a good majority of the people that are walking this earth are Gentiles. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, it does answer my question. I guess just the one thing I'd say back is, I don't know if necessarily everyone believes in this concept of Messiah. Again, that's kind of like personifying God, that there'll be this, a godlike figure who's in a person's body. But I still understand the point you're making. So I appreciate your call and your thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not superior.
All right.
Okay, nice to talk to you, Zachary. Bye-bye.
Yeah. You too. Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay, so we still haven't had anyone call in yet and express their superiority, and I'm hoping that does happen because, again, I just have so many people that leave the same comment. So I would think some of those people would want to call in and express themselves for the world to hear about why their beliefs are so superior. Let's go out to 201. 201, you're on.
Hey, Zach, what's up? I found something really interesting that I wanted to share, a really interesting decode. Did you know that 56 years before 9/11, the Empire State Building had a plane fly into it?
Yeah, it's in my first book.
Oh shit! So you've already covered it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you've covered all the people's names and stuff. I noticed that one of the passengers, Albert Perna, was 68. Also, the pilot, William Smith, his name was 77. It happened. It actually happened. It seems like they changed the date. Originally, they said that it happened on August 16th, 1945, which had a date numerology of 34, and Mitchell bomber is 34, which is a type of plane that, no, I'm sorry, the type of plane that went into it. And Mitchell bomber 79, like they said that it flew into the 78th and 79th floor, and also.
Again,
yeah, I think
I think we were even bringing up the point last year when we were on the streets of New York about the military plane that crashed into the Empire State Building around the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Again, why didn't the Empire State Building come down in a cloud of dust? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very much aware
though.
though.
The only time. Okay. Well, yeah, that's pretty much all that I had to say.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. See you.
Take care.
Bye.
Let's go out to 605. 605, you're on. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, yeah, I think, sorry, I was just working out. I'm kind of out of breath. My religion is kind of superior because I go off of like data and facts of like near-death experiences that like whatever you believe in, that's what's gonna show up at the end of your life. Sorry, I'm just out of breath.
Okay, so you go off near-death experiences. Now, I mean, there's been a lot of shows and documentaries made about people telling the near-death experience and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So what conclusions have you come to from studying this?
That it's whatever it is that's at the end of the tunnel, it's an archon of some sort that will be like a shapeshifter. If you're trying to be Jesus or Muhammad or maybe a dead relative or a family member, whoever, and they'll end up love bombing you, and doing a life review, and showing you all the stuff that you've done wrong, and then they're always like, "There's no judgment, but and then their main goal is to try to get you back into a reincarnation and just get back into another body so they can kind of harvest the loose." That's what I believe, I guess.
Okay. But did you say at the beginning that you think your belief is superior because you've done the research?
Well, yeah, because of like, just like when looking at like the Monroe Institute and all that stuff. And they try to make you, all you have to do is believe in Jesus. Believe in Jesus. That's all you have to do. And then it's just, I heard you saying it. That's why I was thinking about it. And that, yeah, I don't know, it kind of clicked. That it's just all kind of part of the whole Matrix mind trap where they try to keep you here.
Okay, interesting thoughts. I appreciate it. Thank you, 605. Okay. All right. 562, you're on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, can you come back to me in a couple more calls?
I'll come back to you after the commercial break. Okay, we'll go back to 562. Let's go out to 931.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's going all right. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I'll start by saying I'm spiritual. I consider myself spiritual. I don't subscribe to any religion specifically. I'm kind of on the line of that one lady who called in, where she was breaking down how the different denominations are divisional, and I think that's on purpose. I think that was done on purpose. But so I'm not calling in to say that my ideas are superior, because I think my guess is as good as anyone else's. But what I will do is kind of, talk about the Bible a bit, because, and let me say as well, my spirituality is based in Christianity, or rooted in Christianity, I'll say. That's what I was raised in. That's what I know best. I wouldn't even say I'm proficient in it as well. But, I do know a good deal. And, when it comes to the Bible, things don't make a lot of sense to me. Like, for instance, pretty much the very beginning doesn't make a whole lot of sense when we're supposed to all have came from two people. And given how we know incest works these days, it's not logical. Not to mention they had two boys, which means they would have had to reproduce with their mother. It's just crazy. Then it'll say things like, we were created to rule over the land, air, and sea. He gave us dominion over land, air, and sea, right? But then later on, it tells you, give Caesar what is his. So I just think it's very contradictory, and I think it falls in a lot into line with your work, honestly. And I have a very, what's the word to use, suspicious hunch that, it was possibly created by the Jesuits for more, better control, for as a divisional tool, and things like that. I guess, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
On what specifically?
Basically, like the Jesuits having a hand in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, that we know the Bible as we know it because of the Catholic Church, and if people look into the history, they'll realize that the Catholic Church didn't even want the Bible mass printed. It's part of the reason the Jesuits tried to blow up King James in British Parliament, because they were making a Bible at the time. That was in 1605, 6 years before the Bible was, put out, the King James Version, and a year into them starting to write it. So, yeah, the Catholic Church has always wanted to control not only what's in the book, but who has the book. And that should also be revealing. So, yeah, again, I don't really want to talk too much about my thoughts. I always put my thoughts out there. It's just, I always got these people leaving their comments about how superior their spiritual beliefs are to mine, and I just want to hear them explain it over the radio waves instead of read about it constantly in the comments, and I'm still kind of waiting for that first call, so.
Fair. And another thing I thought of too is was interesting. Actually, today I just thought about it. Isn't it interesting how? So I was thinking how they, at least how history tells it, right? how they, you know, basically conquered over African people, or at least, you know, separated them and took their religion and whatnot. Because, you know, as we know it, at least Egyptians, would have used to, you know, do sun worship and things like that. And then, as we were just discussing, the Bible was created, and it is very Catholic at first, which we know is a part of sun worship. And so they're continuing to worship the sun from a religion they stole, or, you know, information, knowledge they stole from other people. And then they create the Bible, and next thing you know, they're saying, don't, you know, worship the sun, don't do these things. Well, I know you just said you don't want to put your thoughts on that, but I guess this is a little bit off topic. I'm curious because, you know, you're a smart guy, bro, so I like getting insight from other people with and intelligence. So
sure,
if you wouldn't mind.
Sure, I've always maintained that I think the Bible's been manipulated, and again, it was essentially mass printed to put a mindset in people that makes them more easily controlled by the state, and essentially everything going on in the world is part of that agenda to make people more easily controlled by the state. So
right.
Anyway, we're going to commercial break,
okay.
And I appreciate the call and thoughts. Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night.
I'm going.
All right, quick commercial break, and then I said I'd go back to
Once upon a time.
562. We'll be right back.
This is iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio makes you want to move. When you have a great melody, a song is right.
Instantly connected.
I love it when the beat goes.
You know, you can listen to Truth Frequency Radio on iHeartRadio. Just download the app to your smartphone, or smart TV, and get the best of TFR wherever you are.
Radio.
See you there.
So, you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Forget about it, that's what it is. See wise cops and almost have a plan. They just make jokes and go, oh, the Roman took horse face. Want to see my ivermectin? This is ivermectin for humans. Yeehaw! See this stuff you see I'm gonna kill the Bryans, you bastard murderers. You think I'm easy to kill? You hit the bioweapon, you monster. No, Brian's looking for humans. You want to suspect me, but kill me, you son of a bitch, you goddamn demon. They don't oppose the beast. They don't oppose the monster. They get on their knees to it and then say, "So you get those others to eat me last." It's only for humans. And they just go like Alex. It's only for humans. That's what it is. It's really just that's the whole message. That the rest of the day, you better stay pretty close out of the bathroom. You're going to get a supernatural pleasure. It was a massive dump. Wow. And you sit around him. So that's medical doctors gave that to me. It's incredible. It helped my family. It helped me. It helped everybody. Murder yourself. I want you to know that he wants to kind of himself and he wants you dead. Well, guess what, Fauci? We ain't rolling over and dying so easily, you little murdering maggot. It's only for humans. And they just go real like Alex. It's only for humans. That's what it is. It's really just let's have the cherry on top. Look at this. Watch, see that? Mmm. So it
Into the truth frequency.
You're protected from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Culture. Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Okay, I think we're back, True Seeker. Again, the sound is not quite right, so it's exactly hard to hear when it should be ending fully. Before we go back out to the calls, again, the news story that broke during the show was the mass shooting in Maine. They're saying at least 16 dead, 60 injured. Once again, Wednesday in Gematria equates to 37 and 44, as does shooting, 37 and 44. If you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. If you just take the alphabetic order, shooting is 107. The name of the restaurant where the shooting occurred, in multiple locations, but where the first shooting occurred, if I'm pronouncing it right, Shemengi's Bar and Grill, Gematria of 107, like shooting. The second location was Spare Time Recreation, which equals 119, like Fraternal Order of Police. Today is 66 days before the governor's upcoming birthday. Her birthday is December 30th. That's Janet Mills. And the 66 days stands out because mass shooting has the Gematria 66. Earlier this year, we talked about the 66 is all over the Tennessee private school shooting, if you recall that ritual, where the shooter's shoes changed from Pumas to Vans. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. But like we said earlier, the most common days of the week for mass shooting news are Wednesdays and Saturdays. Wednesday equals 37 and 44 like shooting. Saturday equals 107 and 109 like shooting. Again, Schmengi's Bar and Grill. Tonight also 107. The topic, though, the topic of discussion tonight, why is your religion so superior? And again, if humanity could just get over these things that we just get so emotionally invested in, race, religion, sexuality, all the things that the powers that shouldn't be used to divide and keep humanity fighting amongst each other, please do call in and explain why your beliefs are superior. We want to hear it. We want to see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, hopefully it might make sense to you that it doesn't make sense as you speak it out over the airwaves for all to hear. So, I believe it was 951 who was up. 951? Hello, 951. Maybe they are just listening. Let's go out to, did we already go to 201? I know where we are. We're at 707. 707, you're on.
Hello, Zach.
Hello.
Hello, boy, it's been a while, well over a month since I spoke with you. I know you didn't do a show and technical issues, so well, I'm glad to be on. So you said the topic is, why do you think your religion or your faith is superior to everybody else's? That's the topic. Now, do I have to adhere to that?
Well, if you got something else, go for it. What is it, George?
Okay, well, well, okay, I realize this is not a bar and you're not my therapist or anything like that, but I, as you probably know, I am a Christian, and for more than 20 years, I've been involved with basically Baptist congregations, independent Baptist churches. But in recent years, I've been seriously disenchanted with my congregation, and I'd rather not go into it. A major blow was this whole Corona hoax nonsense. They comply with it, just like almost every other church of every affiliation in California, and every other house of worship, synagogue, mosque, whatever. And I was seriously disenchanted because I knew this whole thing was complete nonsense. But with a few exceptions, I was the only dissenting voice in my congregation. So this is a major source of contention for me. And as I said, you're not my therapist. You're not my bartender. No, well, I don't have one, but so I just thought I would share that. So I'd rather not address it. Something I would like to share with you are two things. You mentioned this judge in Pennsylvania, I believe, was her name Lillian Ransom?
All right. You pointed out she's Jesuit educated. Good catch.
Yes, she got a law degree from St. Louis University. So I'm sorry, I had not heard of this story until you brought it. I listened to your stream earlier, and you also mentioned that yesterday the actor Richard Roundtree died at the age of 81. And I know you covered this. So you said in the presidential election 2020, the U.S. presidential election of 2020, Joe Biden was supposed to have received something like 80 million votes.
81
and one of the
million.
things he said in his campaign. I'm sorry?
81 million. That's what they say.
Okay. So, of course, Roundtree and Joe were both born in 1942. And you said the two numbers that are associated with blacks are 42 and 59. Well, here's a little factoid. Richard Roundtree got his undergrad degree from Southern Illinois University, where he is a member of Alpha Sigma Alpha, a historically black male fraternity. Well, as it just so happens, that's the same school where another black Richard, Dick Gregory, got his undergrad degree, and he was also a member of the same fraternity. Now, Gregory was about 10 years older than Roundtree, but that's one of the oldest black fraternities in the U.S., and that's well documented. That's a gateway to Princeton Freemasonry. So are you wondering how Roundtree and Gregory got their breaks?
Not anymore. So good connecting the dots.
Oh, okay. Because if I could just say one other thing, when people go to an obviously Jesuit school such as Georgetown or Seattle University or whatever, they say, "Aha, that's how the person became. That's why the person is governor or senator or whatever." Well, when people go to ostensibly non-Catholic schools and even state-funded schools such as Southern Illinois University, one of the other back doors, if you will, is rigged societies, fraternities, and sororities.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, okay, so I did have other things to mention. However, you have other calls, and I have some things that are in my hopper, so perhaps I could bring them up the next time I'm on.
Okay, sounds good, George.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll take care of that.
All right, yeah. Have a good night. Thank you. Yeah, and just listening to what he was saying about how he became not so happy with his congregation there at the Baptist church because of what was going on during the time of COVID. For me, it was like around the time of 12 was confirmation for me. And it was just like really seeing through my peers and how fake they were in church and how I was getting in trouble for asking questions. And it made me just kind of just see how lame the whole situation was. It's like, oh, it's like what religion's really for. It's like to hide behind. It's like an excuse. It's more authority nonsense that doesn't want to be questioned. Let's go out to 716. 716, you're on.
Oh.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me well?
I can.
Okay. I guess I don't know really where to start, but why don't you believe in religion? Or what do you believe in, Zach? I guess that's the real question, not to change the subject on you, but...
Hold on.
What caused you not to follow the Bible?
Hold on, I'm going to answer your question. You're not the same person who came out with the Bible when I was in Buffalo, are you?
Yes.
You are the same person.
I am that person, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you've been following me all this time, so I mean, you must know my answer to that question.
All right, this is true. Let's see, where do I want to start? Well, the reason I say that is because one day the thing is with Christians is we all know one day we are going to die, no matter what you want to do. So if you want to believe in some type of life after death, there's a way of choosing. And I guess that's why I follow Jesus. And the reason why you need to follow Jesus is because of the cross. And it really starts, not to go on a long spiel, but it starts at Adam and Eve. When Eve ate the fruit of knowledge, it commanded sin upon not just man and woman, but the whole earth. That's why women actually have pain during birth. It's spoken in the Bible. There's a few other things. His curse was to work and till the land as a punishment. And the reason why Jesus had to be sent through a virgin, which is Virgin Mary, the only woman who was ever a virgin to bring forth a child. Now, some people say, oh, she wasn't a virgin. It's either you believe in the Bible or you don't. It's not even being a Christian. It's either being a Bible believer or not. It's like either you could take it as a fairy tale or truth. And I know by believing in Jesus and the blood that was crucified upon that cross that day, now through him I am saved. And I'll let you rebuttal.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the Jesus thing and how we met in Buffalo. The caller earlier, I agree with what she said. She said the true name is Yeshua. Do you disagree with that?
It is Yeshua. Jesus does come in many different names in different languages.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I just want to make the point about how they changed the name from Yeshua to Jesus in light of what I was in Buffalo for when we met. In Gematria,
what do you think's more popular of a name, Zach? Do more people know Jesus Christ or Yeshua?
Well, Jesus and Jesus Christ. Again, to make the point, we need to think about why the name was changed to that, and if it's actually a good thing, and maybe it has people believing in something that's a little bit different. Again, in Gematria, just the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Jesus equals 74. So does cross. So does Messiah. So does gospel. So does parables. So does killing. So does stabbing. So does occult. Again, the 74th day of the year to remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing. We just saw the prominent Jewish woman get stabbed to death on Netanyahu's 74th birthday. And I was there in Buffalo teaching about the mass shooting blamed on the white supremacist on Israel's 74th birthday, and that tops is on Jefferson Street. And Jefferson, it's named after the president who died on 7/4, just like Adams and Monroe, 3 of the first 5 presidents died on 7/4. when there's evidence the society of Jesus has been here as this nefarious thing from the beginning. Jefferson and Adams even wrote letters about what might happen when the Jesuits come out of suppression. So we know 74 is this number that's used by the rulers of this world, who are the Catholic Church. That's why we're on their calendar. And we know that they've connected the number 74 with death and killing. And they have all of these people in this religion going around wearing the cross to remember the killing of Jesus, the most traumatic part of his existence. They're not wearing a symbol to remember like a teaching for the golden rule or something. It's about remembering like the traumatic death part. And then also, like you were saying, where you began is, you know, when we die, we're all going to have to probably face some kind of consequences. And the consequence could be for not believing. You could get, you know, the eternal damnation in the hellfire. So again, the point I'm making is just how everything goes.
Everybody, good or bad.
But again, the point I'm making is
book of life.
The point I'm making is you talk to most Christians just like you. Ultimately, the reason you believe is to get the reward and not the consequence for what happens after death. Everything is so focused on death. And just like COVID, they had everybody afraid they were going to die. Comply or else.
It's the Holy Spirit that
hey, hold on. I was thinking about this with regards. Do you disagree that the Society of Jesus, based on the overwhelming body of work I've done, the Society of Jesus is? Do you disagree that they're manipulating a lot of things, including, for example, the COVID pandemic?
God's allowing the Jesuits to do what they have to do to fulfill the prophecy. They're trying, I hate to say, but they're trying to bring about the Antichrist. We're coming into the beast system, and we all have the eyes to see. The blinders are
hold on. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I just want you to consider that their true name is the Society of Jesus. And again, it's the Catholic Church.
The Antichrist comes as Jesus. It's a lookalike, but it's a false Christ. And the Jews are going to worship a false Christ, but it's not the Messiah. But
hold on. Let me finish painting this picture I'm trying to paint. So one of the things that happened right before one of the things that happened right before coronavirus was Kary Mullis died at age 74, the man who invented the PCR test and who called out Anthony Fauci and asked him to debate for decades, but he never would. And had he been alive during the time of COVID, you could believe that he would be a very outspoken critic once again. But he just happened to die right before that Event 201 simulation on October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. Isn't it interesting how they set up the calendar that way? So hold on. Isn't it interesting how it coincides with the Bible? Luke 10:18, when Satan comes to earth. 10:18, the day leaving 74 days left here. So I'm making the point about how many Christians that I've known in my life who are empty vessels of people, totally all about themselves, the exact opposite of what really the Jesus teaching is, but still they'll claim to be Christian to fit into the group, even though they're not really about any of the teachings. And then meanwhile, I have Christians always nagging on me all the time, but if they had eyes to see, I think they would realize that I'm more like a Christian than most Christians are, even though I don't believe in the story of the personified God. I've decided that that's a story for children and for control.
You're going to get heat for that, Zach, though. You know, Christians, you know, we're Bible believers, so it's almost like knocking a Christian down, because you believe, I could tell you're a believer, but you're like 50-50, you know, I can sense it, but I understand, you know, you're on your own path, you know, it's on your time. But all I can say is for all you non-believers, pray that you live a long enough life so one day when you do die, you come to the truth. Because even myself, I'm not a perfect Christian, Zach. I unfortunately am a sinner, and I have my flaws. You know, I don't dabble with women, but you know, we do think women are more attractive than we probably think, and you know, a little bit of fear from time to time or whatever else people do. Smoke, chew. But the Bible says your body is a temple. And if you want to live a long, flourished life, you got to take care of your temple. And another person pointed out how morals were just there. You didn't need the Bible, right? And that's my stat on this. If we were to go to like a third world country, and let's just say I have beef with another tribe, right? I would teach my son, you see that man? That man's the enemy. You got to kill him. But the Bible says, thou shalt not kill. So if we didn't have some form of, like, even thou shalt not steal, but if we didn't have a form of weight, it would be harder for us to seek the moral truth.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I like to pull sometimes just real reality to, like, that's, I mean, like I said, I'm still a Christian on my way. My grandma planted Jesus in my heart a long time ago. Like I said, I'm still, and how I found Christ, actually, I went to church. They said, does anybody not believe in Christ? And I was embarrassed at the time. I didn't want to raise my hand. My mom raised it up. And I went up and I did the words. And I hate to say, he put his hand on my head. And I went like, I didn't fall backwards like you see on the TV, but I did feel something. I just hope it was God divine, because there are a lot of false preachers.
Okay.
But on that day, it took me a while. And then, you know what was the real conclusion? My grandma was the biggest Bible believer. You know, she's gone now, but she was living out in the boondocks, and she was going through hell, and there was like frogs in her water because of the well. Getting a little emotional. But I prayed, and I said, dear God, you want to show me you're right. And I say this to anybody if they want to find Christ or God. Pray about it. I said, find them a house. She supported you all your life, and you can't do not one good thing for her. 1 week later, it might have been 2, it was like 20 years ago, she had an apartment next to my aunt, which was like 2 miles away. And I was like, okay. And of course, through your journey, as you build your faith, God will show answers. You just gotta decide. You gotta see them. You gotta want to. You can't just think, oh, what a coinkydink. No, there's things that happen for a reason. It's our journey in life. All right, I'm done. I'm getting a little emotional here. I'm sorry.
That's okay. When you came out and met us in Buffalo, how was it?
I'm glad to meet you. And I still support. I mean, no, you've always been, you treated me very well. So I'm glad that you actually remembered me.
Yeah, no, I do remember. So thanks for coming out.
I thank you for answering my phone call. And I should probably send you a Bible, but if I was a true believer,
I have several Bibles. I have several Bibles in different versions. So you don't need to do that.
If I get your name inscribed on it, man, it makes you feel so much better when you see that, like your name on that personal book.
Okay.
Anyway, any last points, I guess?
Okay. Anyway, you can send me one if you want. I'll take it, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
I guess I haven't purchased your book, so maybe one day we'll make it work. But I hope to see you again, Zach.
All right.
I pray.
All right. Yeah.
Pray you the best, man. Good health and well. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. You have a good night. Take care.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of 74s and killing, it's such a deadly number. I'm realizing that Maine's establishment anniversary is the Ides of March. Maine's got a Ides of March birthday, March 15th, the 74th day of the year. And it's also the 23rd state. In light of this is going to go down in the history books as one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. That's a pretty big body count. That's going to be in the top 10. So it's 20. It is the 25th. Biden's 25. Biden said there will be gun reform in the time he's president. We'll see what he's got to say in response to this. Let's go out to 815. 815, you're on. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, you're on.
Hello. I agree with the first lady that called in. I totally agree with everything she said. I believe in God. And then I also agree with the caller before saying that reading the Bible is confused because there's pieces missing. And I believe that too. I think there's a lot of pieces ripped out of the Bible that they're not showing us that may have real truth in it. Even the beginning of creation, it should have been the biggest story in Genesis, but it's literally nothing. It's Adam and Eve, they have their kids, they kill each other, then it goes to Noah's Ark, right? So there's a huge chunk of history missing, and I feel like there's just books missing from that. Even in Genesis, they talk about Cain, how he, God sent him away after killing his brother, and Cain made some comment about they're gonna slay me. Well, who's they? Like, if they're the only 4 people on Earth, who are these they they're talking about, right? Am I making sense or no?
You cut out there?
Hello? Oh, can you hear me?
And now you're back.
Okay. Did you hear anything I said?
I did. Yeah, you just cut out for a little bit. At the
Oh,
end.
okay. Oh, okay. I'm just not sure if I make sense or not. But I'm almost, I guess I would consider myself a preterist. Like, I feel like everything in prophecy has already happened. And that may be like the big lie, the big deception. When Jesus talks to his people, he's like, this generation, will not pass before these things come to light, basically. When he comes back and rises again and has his reign on earth. I feel like that has already happened. And that's a big lie in history that's not talked about. It's hidden.
Okay.
So that's my feelings on it. I was actually raised Catholic. I left Catholicism 25 years ago when all the pedo shit came out, and I don't really identify as a religious person. I don't call myself Christian. I believe in Yeshua. However, I do pray to God. I don't pray to, I guess, Jesus, like Christians would do. In my own life, I've prayed for things that have come, and not just.
It went to commercial break. But thank you very much, caller. I appreciate it. You have a good night.
Not that easy to pay the price if you can't see the promise. But all of us wouldn't mind paying the price if we could have a clear view of tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. If we had the high assurance with great probability of how it's going to work out, do you think we would hesitate to pay? The answer is no. But everybody hesitates to pay if the future isn't clear. But we can pay if we can see. My karate instructor said, Mr. Rohn, you cannot believe the incredible feeling of walking down any city street unafraid. I said, let's get on with the classes. Hey, I will sweat. I will put myself through the paces, right? What would we do for an extraordinary promise? Answer, the most unbelievable things. Would you crack the books? Would you burn the midnight oil? Would you engage in the extra thoughts and the extra disciplines? If the promise was adequate, the answer is, of course. But who wants to read? Who wants to burn the midnight oil? Who wants to put themselves through the paces if the promise isn't clear? Important.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? Life is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ialife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about Truth Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
Okay, I'm not hearing any audio. There should be a song playing there, but hopefully I've given it enough time and I'm not talking over it. Again, if you got here late, we are taking calls all night, and the topic is, why is your religion so superior? And again, it's a question the world needs to figure out the answer to. And I think the answer is that nobody's religion is superior. But until the answer's figured out, you're going to have the divisions and fractures we see all in humanity, and the endless wars over religion. And again, why can't people just, like the caller said earlier, accept that we're all the children of God and get along in that regard? Or for the person who even gets annoyed by that because they're an atheist and they don't believe in God, I don't really see atheists starting wars, though, over their spiritual beliefs. Let me know if that's ever happened in history, if atheists ever declared any type of war over differences in beliefs about spirituality. But yeah, just why can't people just even agree to disagree? And then if the argument is, well, the person who doesn't have the same spiritual beliefs as me, they might not have the same morals. Hey, look at how many people in the same religious group don't have the same morals. Some people are really about the belief. Some people are just pretending to be part of the group to fit in. The wolves in sheep's clothing types. And there's a lot of them. So, again, why not just... I don't even know if judge is the right word, but if we are going to judge people, why not just judge them based on their actual behaviors rather than their beliefs? All right, let's go out to Iowa 515. You're on. 515?
Yes, Lloyd. Can you hear me?
All right, I gotta move on from that caller. I don't know if they're trying to wreck our eardrums, but they're doing it. Let's go out to 717.
Hey, Zach, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, the reason I'm calling in was because I wanted to point out that I feel like all the Christian callers that have called, all they can do is like quote Bible verses. They can't answer your question. They can't prove why their religion is superior. I think it would be a really great idea if you played over the live stream your video from several years ago, why 42 generations to Jesus? Because the amount of gematria that you reveal that's in the Bible in that video is like undeniable. And I think if they were to hear that, I mean, because I think of all the religious groups out there, I feel like they are the most closed-minded when it comes to like the history of their religion. So I think if they just hear the gematria side of the Bible, they might realize that it's all manipulated by man, and like it's all for control by numbers, and just like because like the Christian supporters that you have, they support your work when you apply gematria to the news and the sports, but then when you apply it to the Bible, then they want to run away from gematria. So I feel like they're kind of unreasonable. So I feel like they really need to be more open to, your work when it comes to like the Bible and Christianity. So, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I just think it.
Well, the point you're trying to make is what I was trying to communicate that to the caller about how it's the same tactics. Like, we know it's the Society of Jesus who did the Event 201 coronavirus simulation, and that's why they had it on the military world games in Wuhan. The same things on the same day when they are also credited with starting those world games. And again, just how the same numbers and the same tactics, believe or else. Everything's fear-based. Everything is death-based. And it does bother me that there's so many Christians who say that they support everything about the work, but the denouncing of Christianity, it's like, well, am I not being super consistent? I'm showing how all these authoritarian things are working by this fear-based system with this same numerical encode. So what does that say about your religion and this name Jesus that they want you to use, even though that's not the original name? Why did they change it to that? So.
Well, another thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit was the other caller. He's quoting, "Thou shalt not kill." Well, is that guy even aware that those commandments are in the 42 laws of Ma'at? Like those 10 commandments, that's where they came from. Does he even know that? Like they just don't know, the history of their religion. So if I was you, I would, you should think about playing that video of the live stream, because that was a great video that you made several years ago. I think they need to hear that video, definitely. So
I'll have to go back. I made that video when I still lived in Bothell. I remember that video. I remember where I was sitting in the kitchen. So I'll have to go back and see if I can find it.
Yeah, you should. But thanks for taking my call.
All right, appreciate it. You have a good night.
Yep. You too. See ya.
Yeah, the video he's talking about is probably 7 years old. Okay, let's keep moving down the line here. New York, you're up next. 347.
Hi Zach, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, it's too bad we couldn't see you in New York. So hopefully next time, or even before, I would like to meet again.
I regret not being there, and I hope to make it out there sooner than later. So,
like as soon as possible, I'll be there for sure. So the answer is that there are no such thing as peaceful religion. All religion, it came from man-made scriptures. It's a tool to control people. Back in the early days of the planet Earth, there was just, spirituality, things that you don't talk about, things that don't go in a box. Very pure, very innocent. Nowadays, everything is very contaminated, and it's all man-made scriptures. We read in the Torah and the Shul every week parshas, but the parshas, they have a meaning behind it. So on the foreground, the parsha says something, but in the background, it says something else, such as Esther in Purim during the spring, and there's like things in the background that mean something. So it also develops a characteristic. I noticed that about myself. The more Torah I study, the more characteristics I develop, the more, the more innocence I have, the more of a victimhood I have. And then I wonder, in years of studying Torah, wearing a kippah on the street, wearing tzitzits, which is the white strings attached on the sides, why am I always on the center stage? Our scriptures put it like that. Also, our diets as well, keeping kosher between meat, dairy, and parv. Parv is neutral foods. So the way we eat, the way we study, the way our belief system is, isolates us in society. So we become a target. This goes beyond the borders of Judaism. There are beliefs and false beliefs as well. Jesus, who was originally called the Nazarene, was an original Hebrew. The original Hebrew would be not so much of a religion, but more of the person who he was, the Nazarene. So the Nazarene had a lot of capabilities, and the Nazarene had capabilities to elevate the earth, not to believe in him, not to worship him, but to elevate the consciousness level of the earth, if you want to put it simple. But then, man created scriptures to control other man and to preach and to collect money and to, Muslims, blowing themselves and things like that. It became very, very contaminated. So that is the direct answer. And I would like to share something.
Okay.
So something going in the modern day, they call this the new 9/11. It's interesting that they say that because from September 11 of this year to October 7 is a span of 26 days. The 101 prime is 26, and which can be translated as 3 weeks and 5 days. If you write out Gaza in English, it's 35, 3 weeks, 5 days, and also Palestine is 101. 101 prime is 26. There's a lot of, also with the Hebrew letters as well of 101, because when you write out Palestine, the Fe, the Lamed, the Shin, the Tuf, the Yud, the Bet, and the Hey, is 3, 6, 7 letters. In the Hebrew cipher with the Hebrew letters, one of the cipher come out as 101. So in Hebrew and in English, Palestine or Philistine comes out as 101. So that's 26 prime. 26 days after the last 9/11 anniversary is October 7. Another thing that's interesting here is that they always have a lot of pressure. The Holy Land has a lot of pressure in the north border, bordering Lebanon. They keep putting pressure on the Iranian-backed Hezbollah, which is a private independent militia based in Lebanon that was founded in the early 1980s during the Lebanese Civil War, which went from 1975 to 1990. And obviously, since 2006, July 2006, till now, 2023, Hezbollah has become a lot stronger. They have more militias, they have more members, they have more weapons, more sophisticated weapons, much more sophisticated training on ground, air, and sea. But going back to the original July 2006 war, they keep pointing on the news, the controlled news, about the last, Lebanese war. From July 12, 2006, Wednesday, to Monday, August 14, 2006, that's a span of 33 days. That's a Masonic number, 33. Hezbollah in English is 190, is 44, which is 193 prime. How interesting it is that July 12 is 193 day of the year. So 193 prime is 44. And if you type in the word Hezbollah, the militia, is 44. Wednesday, if in full reduction, is 44 as well. And that's when the war was officially declared. There is also 36 and 27 in the start of the war, which when you type in the North Country of Lebanon, Lebanon, both has 36 and 27. So these numbers point at the start date, and the duration went on for 33 days. You cannot tell me that this is organic. This is definitely controlled for sure. Interestingly enough, that we all know that there is war through deception. Mossad is a very dangerous organization. It's a secret, I guess like similar to the KGB. Their slogan is war through deception, which is happening right now. The deception is that obviously Hamas is trained and funded by the Zionists. There's no way that the border, 26 miles north to south of the Gaza, was opened up. A cat can't even crawl outside with all the billions of dollars we're giving them. But somehow the Zionist army was pushed to the north, away from the border. And interestingly enough, that Mossad equals Talmud, which is 71, 17, 91, and 37. Talmud is one of our holy scriptures, obviously religious, just between us, religion is obviously a form of control, but I used to study a Talmud, and the Talmud has commandments. It teaches us, it's a commandment telling us how to study the Parshas, how to study the 5 books of Moses. One of them is Numbers, like you always mention. The 5th book is Deuteronomy. We daven the Shema Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad every day. We put on tefillins, we keep kosher, we keep the Shabbos, we keep Yom Tov. So that's a commandment. So it's interesting that in English, Talmud equals Mossad. Another thing, what's interesting is obviously foreign soil gets much more attention than our own U.S. border with Mexico. One day, they deployed our military and the USS Gerald Ford, right, faster than our own border. So if you type in USS Gerald Ford, you always talk about skull and bones. There's 3 out of 4 ciphers. Skull and bones equals USS Gerald Ford. How interesting is that? Why did they choose that right away in one day? How interesting. This is definitely not organic. Al-Aqsa flood is originally, that's the name of it. It comes out to 103, drop to 0, becomes 13. You'll have a 40 and 59. 59 prime is 17. Those come out to the date numerology of October 7. Interestingly enough, that Al-Aqsa by itself is 51 and 15, and it's 39 days before the, the Palestinian independence as well. Gaza is equal to 17. October 7, if you add it up, just the month and the day equals to 17. The 107 prime is 28, which is interesting because 280th day of the year dropped to 0 is 28. Hamas also equates as well, 15 and 42. There are, like I said, the 26 days after 9/11, of course. They always keep mentioning on the news, they keep putting keywords like rockets with an S. It's 28, right? 280 days a year, drop to 0, it's 28. Saturday, that's happened after. How interesting. When we finished all the Parshas out of the year, we had Simchat Torah. We were dancing with the Torah. While we were celebrating all the Parshas, 52 weeks, the entire, every Shabbos, 52 weeks of the year. After Rosh Hashanah, we had Yom Kippur. We fasted for 25 hours. And then we had Sukkot for the whole week. After Sukkot, we had Simchat Torah. It was a 2-day Yom Tov. Right after we were celebrating all the Parshas that we studied, this happened on a Saturday 28 and 107. It goes both ways. 107 prime 28. 28 goes to October 7 because October 7 is 280th day of the year. How interesting is that? And then they seem to be playing a lot with our emotions right now. They're having false flags, and they are using propaganda to deceive people to support this war. They keep having false flag phobias about Hamas, similar to like 9/11. Very, very similar. 26 days. Terrorism. We think about Arabs. We think about Muslims. Why? They're good people. I know a lot of them are good. We have pop-up news on my computer, Hamas rockets. So this way we keep supporting the war. People in my shul, in my synagogue, they do not have one single cell in their head. Right away, right after the Yom Tov, right away they support ISRAEL right away. Why? I was thinking, and then something didn't make sense. And then right away, I pull up the Gematria calculator, and I used the knowledge. I decoded, and then I figured it out in plain English. I didn't lift up my sleeves to get the vaccines, but with the people at the shul, they believe it right away. They're spoon-fed real easy. It's like borderline. I love the people in my synagogue, but they're borderline stupid. They're borderline stupid. Everyone just accepts it right away. They're having the white and blue flags. I keep my mouth shut in some ways. I don't want to, but it's like, for God's sake, like these poor Palestinians. We came from Europe. Zionism was created in Europe. 1948 was 3 years after 1945, after World War II ended, right? Where did our people go? We went to peace, Palestine. We went to Palestine. That's where we went to. That's what it was called. Then the British had the whole thing with the mandates. These poor people are suffering. They're just civilians. The targets are innocent people. They're having Tehillim is prayers at the shul, praying for the Zionist soldiers. For God's sakes, like, when is this madness going to end? I'm not reading anything. Then we're having a WhatsApp video from one of the soldiers. He looks like a monster, this guy. And I feel so bad for the innocent people. Like, they don't have, Palestine does not have a military. Yasser Arafat was trying to create a militia, trying to create like a movement. I don't want to get too much into politics, but he, wasn't so much successful. Hamas is obviously Zionist controlled, Zionist funded. It's just a puppet there. And then what's in the middle? Innocent people. Okay. I do not use the Israel word ever. They're innocent people. They're called Zionists. That's what they're called. It was formed in Europe. I studied Judaism very well in my life. I didn't grow up too much religious. But whenever we study the parshas at the shul, there's always something in the background. The rabbi's a sweetheart, but he's spoon-fed right away. And you know where he gets his news? He gets it from their website, the Zionist website. Could you believe this? I talk about the water and food being cut off, electricity, about all these poor people. Rafah border crossing on the south of the Gaza going into Egypt is cut off as well. For God's sakes, let these people breathe. And then we have our tax money, USS Gerald Ford, in the Mediterranean Ocean. So they can't go in on the ground, the poor people. They can't go swim anywhere, obviously. They'll drown. And we have our beautiful tax money right there. And then they can't go to Egypt, which is south, and Rafah, border crossing. And then also the humanitarian crisis can't go in. Are we having this aggression with the 6 million that passed in World War II to these poor innocent people that we went to as guests? I mean, we did build our temple, the Beit HaMikdash, which we call the Kotel. I went there for 10 days. I did daven the Shema over there. It's beautiful, but we can't choke people with this madness, that the anger that we have from World War II. So this is my 2 cents. I'm trying to break the ice very gently on the WhatsApp, my synagogue. But people in the past 2 Shabbases, the rabbi and everyone was looking at me weird. And then I have a friend that's close to me at the shul. Him and I were like brothers. I always want him to go with me for Marav because it's like the environment is very tight. Because I'm speaking too much facts about Hamas being Zionist created, this is a puppet, the hostages and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're also agents as well. The environment is very tight over there, Zach.
Yeah, well, it's nice that you're trying to plant seeds and get people to think outside of the box and along their religious tribal boundaries. So I appreciate it, and great research and great information.
Thank you, Zach. Let me know when you're in New York. I'll be there for sure.
Okay, you'll definitely know when I'm returning. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's go out to Las Vegas. We got 2 minutes until the commercial break. 7:02, you're on.
Hey, shalom, Zach. Shalom. Oh, how you doing, brother?
Doing well, thank you.
Wow, okay. I was just, excuse me?
Oh, doing well, thank you.
Oh, yeah, word. Yeah, I was just taking in the last caller. My goodness, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for him to call in. I was listening to all these other callers, and I would say the female that called in maybe 2 callers ago, she was asking the greatest questions. She's asking the greatest questions. Now, gosh, that last caller was so good. Thank you, brother. Oh, man. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, that he came on and spoke so much truth. And wow. Okay, and I respect what you do, too. Let me get to the point. Okay. I originally called in because you asked, who has the greatest religion? Right. And I thought about it a lot. I thought about my experiences over the years. And I would say Islam, but then I was correcting myself and I said Islamism, because in America, there is something called the Moorish Science Temple of America. A lot of people may not know about it. However, if you want to learn more about the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Circle 7 Quran was published in 1927 by Noble Drew Ali. Okay, Noble Drew Ali, he put this together. People want to disregard the Circle 7 Quran and say, oh, Noble Drew Ali stole from the Akashic records. I was like, no, he didn't steal from the Akashic records. What he did was he put it all together and put it into print.
Hold on,
a lot
caller.
Of Christians, like a lot of the
caller, pause real quick because the commercial's coming on. Yeah. We'll continue after the break. Sit tight.
Word up.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Proverbs 4:20. Your lungs are now filling up with chronic. Oh, I know what that means. You go roaming. And all of a sudden, I started chilling. And I smiled. I said, you click for that all the way. And the nurse had heard the bigger the must. I call you well. Back, I call you well. Knees, I call you well. Feet, I call you well. Kidneys, I call you well. Bladder, I call you well. Stomach, I call you well. Intestines, I call you well. Get out of my lungs. Get out of my body. Devil comes up there. Well, you're not healed. You got COVID-19. Flip over and fight its own fight. Here, Satan. Hold this. They said I'm better today. Well, that's COVID-19 for somebody. Now then, I have some videos I want you to watch. Get out of my lawn. Get out of my body. Get out of here. Hey, Nico Blue, steno, opera steno da classe grande.
Tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
Culture. Don't watch. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Okay, I'm assuming we're back. Again, we do have those audio problems, so it's hard for me to exactly hear where the sound is really ending. For people who are joining the show, we have been covering the reported mass shooting in Maine tonight, but also the topic tonight is, again, why is your religion so superior? And again, it seems that anywhere you go in this world, people are fighting over religion. Where Sweet Lady's from, for example, Burma, longest ongoing civil war in the world, and it's over religion. It's a lot like what you're hearing about in Israel. And of course, Burma was the big news February 1st, 2021, when its military overthrew its government. And again, that nation's completely divided over religion. Let's go back out to 702. He was in the middle of his thought when the commercial break interrupted us. You're back on 702.
Hey, Shalom, Zach. Good to be back, brother. Good to be back. Man, I really respect your work, bro. And your work on Lahaina, man, when that happened, I'm looking all over the place on YouTube. I'm like, man, who is telling the truth on what's going on? Because I know it's something very significant. And so I'm searching. And that's when I came across you. And I respect you and everything you've done over all of these years, my brother. But getting back to what I was saying, with the Bible. Oh, no, it wasn't about the Bible. It was about the Circle 7 Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Because there's Moors out here today. So if people were interested on, well, what's going on in the world, you know, who's doing religion and this and that, people would know about the Moorish Science Temple of America. So the reason why I bring that up is that the Muslim or the Moors with the Moorish Science Temple of America, they practice something called Islamism. And people may not be aware of that. I was raised Muslim. You know, my name is literally, Dawood Ali. By the way, you got me blocked because you thought I was a troll because I know the earth is flat. And so, but let me put that to the side. the Islamism, what that allowed me to do was that when I looked at the Circle 7 Quran that was published in 1927, I read through that. I've read that thing maybe 15 times. Okay, and so I'm really understanding this life of Jesus between age 12 to maybe 30, 31. It's literally in the Circle 7 Quran. Christians, they don't read. They're just parrots. Similar to the guy that was on earlier, he was all frustrated because he couldn't understand why other people aren't parrots like he is. But it's that we have intellect, we have common sense, we do critical thinking. One thing, and I don't want to move away from the Circle 7 Quran, but what I'd like to do is move to the actual Holy Quran that Muslims are reading. Minister Farrakhan from the Nation of Islam, a few years ago, he says that Islam needs a reformation. I completely agree with him. He's a leader of a lot of people, and I agree. Islam does need a reformation. One thing I'd like to do is bring you to the Quran, because there's a chapter and verse that once you read that, you'll automatically see the mistake that millions and millions and millions of Muslims are making. But I understand why they're making those mistakes. They're making those mistakes because they're also interpreting the Quran with hadiths. And the hadith, which is the equivalent to an extra biblical text, meaning that it's not actually a part of the Quran, but it's interpreted by trusted individuals, to teachers, imams, trusted, that are like interpreting and saying, okay, this is how you use the Quran in real life. But at some point, it absolutely went left. You don't oppress women. So when you go into this particular chapter in the Quran, which is, I'm going to give it to you, brother, and I hope you read it. Surah 3, verse 41 through 60. That's Surah or Surat 3, verse 41 through 60. It talks about Jesus, but it's the word Isa. So earlier when Yeshua was used and people get thrown off, oh yeah, Jesus, that's the name we're saved by. It's like full stop. Isa is also a word that you can use to describe that character. And then you also have Mary that's spoken about. You have the Torah that's spoken about in the Quran. This is Surah 3, verse 41 through 60. Now, let me describe this. I understand religion to be Super Mario Brothers. There's a lot of different tubes you can go down. Now, for the Muslim, I'm going to say this, I'm going to wait for your comment. For the Muslim, when you read Surah 1, Surah 2, Surah 3, there's no way you can't go back to start reading the Bible, because it tells you you need to learn who Mary is. You need to learn who Isa is. You need to learn about wisdom. You need to read the Torah and the Gospels. So literally, Islam is allowing time travel. Christianity, it's blocked because you can only access a Bible. But for the Muslim, you're allowed to look at the Gospels, like the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary specifically. But that's all I have to say, because they can do it. They just don't have the conduit.
Okay, well, I appreciate that information, okay. and that'll give people who are inquisitive more things to look into and research. So thank you.
Yeah, Islam, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar.
Thank you. You have a good night, friend. Okie dokie. Let's go out to 571. 571, you're wrong. (571) Virginia.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, how are you? My name's Alex. Yeah, my name's Alex. How are you guys?
You're doing well. Thanks, Alex.
Okay. There's 3 points that I wanted to get to real quick. Your question was which religion is superior. Is that right?
Well, I don't really. Again, the question was, why is your religion so superior? Just because so many people come in and express thoughts like that, and so far, I don't think we've gotten any of those people to leave the comments to call in yet tonight. But go ahead, you got the floor.
Okay. I would just say that in a roundabout way, I'm going to answer that question because I don't think that's the right question to ask. I think the better question would be, well, where's the proof or where's the power in any of these religions?
Sure.
I know a lot of people, they give flack to the name Jesus. And my rebuttal to that would be, well, the Most High, he can use whatever name he wants. If that's the most popular name that's going around and he wants to call out, individuals and have them use that name, he can do that. So, I mean, that's just how I see it, right? And to piggyback off of that, the Society of Jesus uses that name too, right? Well, it's clear that just by their actions, by the Catholic Church actions, they don't have that name in regard. They don't hold that name to high esteem. They don't follow his teachings. They don't care about anything regarding that book at all, right? All those factions worship angels. They don't worship Jesus. And Jesus created the angels. So, I mean, you look at the Star of Judaism, that's a star, right? Any other occults, Satanism, that's a star. The Star of Ishtar, that's a star. And if you read through the scriptures, you will find that stars are synonymous with angels. So that's the reason why we see stars everywhere. And my third point would be that Christians don't read the book. That's why there's no power in the church these days, because, we do Christmas, we do Halloween, every Christian mentions the cross, and the cross is an image, right? The word says, don't have graven images in your home. Why do we run around with crosses? Why do we have statues up? We're not supposed to have statues up anywhere for a good reason. You can find all that in the scriptures. You can definitely prove that if you were to read between the lines within the book. And this is how you know that Christians don't really study the book and read the book.
Yeah, that is true. So ultimately, the point you're making is?
I'm saying it's important to answer this question that you're posing by splitting up what is in the book by what people are saying or what beliefs are being touted in religions. It's like Christ himself was going around and doing miracles, and he was having his disciples do these miracles as well. I mean, you have to ask the question, where's the power in these religions today if they believed that he was performing things? It's like Moses, when he parted the Red Sea, he didn't have to question whether or not that, he was following the right path. It was pretty evident at that point. So the question I would have is, well, where's the power?
Okay. Well, we'll leave it with that question and thought for everyone out there listening. Let some more people get in. Thank you, 571.
Absolutely. Take care.
Let's go out to Phoenix, 480. Phoenix, hello.
Hey, Zach, how's it going, my man?
It's going all right. What's up?
Just calling in from Arizona. I almost dozed off here, so I've been in the queue for about 52 minutes. But I'm enjoying this discussion. I was just running some errands, and I happened to open the YouTube and saw this live, and I just wanted to chip into the discussion, Zach. Let me gather my thoughts here. I did want to comment on some of the callers and whatnot. And I did want to share kind of almost my personal journey with religion in the meantime and see how that connects with Gematria, and just go from there. But I agree with most of what's being said. There's a bunch of truth overlapping from caller to caller, and I do want to say this. Generally speaking, like most of us here that engage in your work, Zach, and all this type of stuff in the community, we're generally kind of on the right path already. And it's unfortunately it's a journey. It's not something that's overnight. But I do want to say I kind of agree with you when that fellow from New York, I believe you had a couple from New York at this point, but the guy that offered you a Bible or something, I do want to say you told him, Zach, you said you feel that you personally would be a true Christian compared to what Christians are, and I gotta agree to that to some extent. I've been watching you for years and whatnot. This is probably my third or second time calling. I don't call too often, but I would agree that Christianity, what it preaches and whatnot, would fall under how you conduct yourself. Of course, I don't know you personally on a personal level, but just seeing your work and whatnot. But still, again, sorry, I'm rambling a lot, but I still don't. I'm still here trying to figure out the truth and whatnot. My personal experience with this religion stuff is, so I was born and raised a Muslim, to a very, pretty spiritual family. I kind of, at one point in time in recent years, very recent years, I kind of, you could say, went off the path a little bit, and I'm still currently on this pursuit of knowledge and the truth, like most of us, especially during these times, and more of us we want answers. We want to figure out what the fuck. We just want answers. We want to figure out what the hell's going on. What the hell? Where is this going to go? How is it going to end and whatnot? So these past few years, I kind of attempted to convert to Christianity, and that didn't really finalize. I ended up backing out. It was a very, very interesting experience. I just could not, I don't know, the best way I can explain it to you guys and the callers is something in my gut told me, I guess is the best way I could explain it. I was very close to converting pretty much in a church setting. And I just realized that, hey, I'm not as informed. I felt more confused than I was. I had, like, for example, times where I would try to, buddies or even family members or whatnot, and trying to get them on the same train and tell them, hey, man, yeah, this is the answer. What you're looking for is Christianity. And I would often struggle with their questions and whatnot. And I realized, hey, I don't have the answer to these questions, and I need to figure out what am I doing here? So that's the situation I'm in. So recently, I kind of strayed away from that. I ended up not converting. I kind of found myself going back to Islam, and this time around, I'm taking in everything that I know and read and whatnot, and I'm still, you could say, I'm still learning. I'm still on this journey, but something in my gut, best way I could explain it to somebody else is something in my gut tells me most of the truth we're looking for lies in Islam. I will have to say this, though. All this religion crap has been contaminated and corrupted, like a couple of the callers were mentioning, of course. Humans, we're the most beautiful creation, but we all are also the ugliest creation, which is the whole beauty of it. It's crazy. We fucked everything up. And I don't believe that should be a reason for someone to necessarily block off all, pursuit of religion or spirituality or the truth or and whatnot. I believe it's just we have to differ between what's bullshit, and it's easier said than done, but we have to differ between what's bullshit and what's been contaminated by humans, by us, by men. And I'll also say, I guess you could say, proof or something exists that there's some type of religion or higher power or whatnot. Is since this corruption and this gematria and all this stage exists, this whole lie that we've been fed exists, and it's a real thing, and we know it is, then kind of by default, there should be an opposite. And the opposite is the truth, the one answer that we're all, I believe, one day we're going to figure out. We're going to obviously find out. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share, Zach. I want to give the rest of the callers. I want to say one more thing, Zach. This is kind of pertaining to our current times. So I was raised, this is something I want you to hopefully address, and maybe if you could address it and how it correlates with the gematria. So a lot of Muslims, we believe, well, this is something I'm still registering, and I've learned this a few years ago, and I didn't really register it, and I'm still pretty much a huge majority of Muslims believe in almost kind of a similar belief to the Christianity, almost like a second coming. And I want to break it down to you. I'm not sure if it's been brought to you in the past ever by any callers. And so pretty much I could just, for example, this is directly from my own family. And they literally believe with their whole heart that, I guess this is what the belief is. There's going to be pretty much Jesus is coming back, and we believe in that. We believe Jesus is a prophet, which he's alive. They're all alive. They're all amongst us, I guess. They believe that the huge portion of Muslims believe he's coming back, along with the last grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. And they're going to descend on the earth, I guess. Or they're already amongst us in the earth, but we can't see them. And this is like when shit really hits the fan. This sounds like this has to do with war and all this crap. So they're going to descend on earth. There's going to be periods of war and whatnot, and they're going to pretty much, it's almost as if a reset to the world before the world ceases to exist, before Judgment Day. There's going to be a short period of, the truth is going to finally be revealed, I guess, is what they believe. This is a huge chunk of the Muslims believe. And I realized when I was on a pursuit for the Christianity, I realized a lot of Christians weren't familiar with this belief or just weren't, I don't know, they just would not acknowledge it. And for some reason, I'm kind of revisiting this in these recent years, in these recent times. I feel like there may be something to that extent, maybe some truth to that. I don't know how that correlates with the gematria. Hopefully you can break it down in future videos. But Zach, the name of the grandson of the prophet, his name is El-Mahdi in Arabic, El-Mahdi, which I think translate to the guided one or the guider. And then there's also nicknames for him. He's the awaited one and whatnot. And him and Jesus play huge roles. Jesus played a big role. I believe the narrative is Jesus will pretty much destroy some form of an antichrist, which will believe in an antichrist as well. Some form of an antichrist will believe there's going to be a figure. And yeah, that's all pretty much I wanted to share, Zach. Thanks for your time, and God bless everyone.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, just for the next caller, again, if you guys can try to keep it at 2 minutes. He went on for a long time, and then he said he was done, and he said one more thing, and then he went on for another 3 minutes. His whole call was about 15 minutes. We're not getting many people in when people do that. And again, if you guys can just be concise with your words and get to the point and cut out all the filler, there's about 20 people on hold. So let's go out to Illinois. We got 2.5 minutes till the break. Illinois, you're on.
Hey, Zach. I actually called a little earlier, and I got kind of cut off with the commercial. But real quick, I did want you to take a look at the Economist cover from 2012, the Christmas edition. The Economist magazine, it's Rothschild-owned magazine company.
Right.
And if you could just check out that cover, it kind of goes in line with, I guess, religion. If you pull it up, you'll see Satan standing there holding the cover of the magazine with all the world leaders, like, in hell. And then at the top, you'll see Hamas on a paraglider and Netanyahu on a paraglider.
Oh, yeah. I see that. Wow.
Do you see?
Yeah.
And it's from 2012.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
It's 11 years later.
I mean, obviously, they're telling us there.
11
right?
years later, their master number, their master plan. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you just notice, I just find all of it interesting. I feel like when you see Obama in the boat with pride, and, you know, like the rumors of Obama being, you know, gay and, you know, Michael Obama, all that.
Right.
Right. And then it looks like Reagan sitting at like the American Idol table with the X's. But it looks like I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to be Simon Cowell, but it looks like Reagan to me, which I find that interesting, like almost like he's the judge, like running, I don't know. It's like hard to decode that whole thing because there's so much going on in that photo, right?
Yeah, I'll go back and look at this. This is interesting. Again, another word that equals 71 is hell, just like Catholic and Talmud and Mossad, and to remind people that this war started on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's upcoming birthday. Hell on earth. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen this cover before, so I appreciate that. And with regards to the Rothschilds being behind The Economist, again, the Rothschild name's also on the Balfour Declaration, and that anniversary will be November 2nd. So, okay.
Right.
Appreciate it.
I would love to actually try to get my hands on that entire magazine and read it cover to cover and just see what's inside of it as well. So
you can probably buy it on eBay if you want to look. I guess there's a copy there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all I wanted to add to what I had to say in regarding good and evil, God and Satan, that kind of thing. So,
all right, thank you so much. You have a good night. All right, quick break, guys. We'll be right back.
Things. They don't mind you becoming sharp, powerful, as long as you care. And the more you care, the stronger you can be. I don't mind a minister consigning my soul to hellfire for my sinful ways. I don't mind that, as long as he does it with tears and not with joy. But wouldn't we all resist a dry-eyed sermon on hellfire? You can't preach hellfire without your heart breaking. You got to sob your way through a sermon on hellfire, or we all would resist a dry-eyed attempt to preach on hellfire. Why? A simple, obvious lack of really caring. And there are some subjects you cannot even deal with unless your heart breaks, and unless visibly it shows by the emotional content that you really care. Now you can deal harshly with some powerful, important problems.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extend.
If there's something you want to achieve, you can achieve any freaking thing you want as long as you know what the goal is. That's why goal posters or goal boards or even just telling someone what your goals are, writing them down is so important, because once you can identify your goal, it makes it so much easier to work towards it. And that's something that I think our children are not being taught in the school system right now, is how to set a proper goal. It's like, hey, what do you want to achieve? Well, the teacher gave me these things I want to achieve. Okay, well, what's that going to do for you? Well, I don't know. The teacher said I had to do it. Okay, that's great, but it doesn't teach them the logical thought process or the creative thinking process to develop a goal and then reverse engineer what they need to do to accomplish that goal. And we need more of that true goal setting in our society. Otherwise, we just have a bunch of sheep who have no idea what they're doing. They're just bumbling around. Don't be a sheep, be a goat. They're more creative and adventurous anyways. Be an ornery goat.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, it's TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
All right. Once again, True Seeker, we're having audio problems. There should be music right now, even though we can't hear it. The people listening on TFR, they will hear the music, so I'm trying not to talk over it. But again, taking calls the rest of the show. If you guys can keep your calls down to about 2 minutes, that'd be great. New details in the Maine shooting. They're saying the shooter, his name is Robert Card. And funny enough, in Gematria, Robert Card equals 67 like killer, like blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice, and today leaves 67 days left in the year. So it's like Robert Card. I mean, if this is a real mass shooting, is it like that show Utopia, where they can activate these mass shooters from, say, a phone call? If you've never seen that show, it's a pretty horrific and disturbing show to watch, but it seems to be dropping a lot of clues about what might really be going on in this world. And again, if you have not seen Utopia, Amazon did a remake of it in the time of the pandemic lockdowns and about billionaires faking a pandemic to sterilize and depopulate the world, and it reveals us several other things, including children being raised to essentially be sacrificed for news propaganda, children being raised to be mass shooters in schools, people that are under some kind of mind control who can just be activated to go out and do things like kill people through a phone call and the right set of words, like Manchurian candidates. So Robert Card is the shooter, and his birthday is 4/4, go figure, April 4th, that fateful day, MLK anniversary. Of course, the word shooting is 44. Anyhow, let's get back out to the callers and the topic at hand. Is your religion superior? Why? And I think the caller disconnected who was there over the break. Huh. Oh, okay. All right, let's go out to 310 then. 310, you're on.
Hey, Zach, it's DK. Can I call back later? I'm just got back in with the animals. I got a few emails to send you too.
Sure, you can call back in later. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll call you on your regular phone from my number.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I'm just gonna continue listening on this. I'll just leave this here.
Okay.
Don't hang up or whatever you do. Just put it on hold.
Okay, we'll do. Okay, let's go out to 515. 515, you're on.
Hey Zach. So I think it would be safe to say it sounds like you have a problem with the Catholic Church and how the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality with her.
Did you say it seems like I have a problem with the Catholic Church?
Yeah, and how the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality with her.
Again, my problem with the Catholic Church is it's hell-bent on controlling the world and the information in it and maintaining itself as the authority over other people, as if it has some, valid reason to be the authority of the world. So I don't understand how you mean the other phrasing of your statement, but go ahead.
Well, I thought I heard you say something earlier about how, like the Catholic Church kind of gives the green light to these governments to go like wage wars and stuff like that. I thought you said something earlier, kind of like that. But anyways, there's just a couple of things I find interesting. So if you look up the word Catholic, it means of broad or liberal scope, comprehensive. And then the second definition is including or concerning all humankind, universal. And then if you look in the Bible at Matthew 7, verse 13, it says, enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. And then also interesting, just kind of along the lines of like the kings of the earth doing acts of immorality. In Revelation 18, verse 3, it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the passion of her immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich by the wealth of her sensuality.
Okay.
Yeah, I found those kind of interesting. And then, like personally, I'm a Christian. I think the real message of the Bible to me is like all about God being like loving your brother as yourself. And yeah, I would just say like try not to like put too much into like what other people say Christianity is. I would really focus on like just read the Bible for yourself and try and give it like a fair shot, I guess.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one.
All right. Yeah. Take care. Let's go out to Evan. What's up, Evan?
All right. Hey, Zach. So this call doesn't really have to do with like religious superiority, but it does go to show how they tie in religion to all these mainstream events that are going on. This with the MLB playoffs right now. So I guess first of all, do you know how old Arizona is as a state?
I think 111.
Yeah, so 111 years old. So it's no surprise that they're in the 119th World Series with all the 111 connections on 9/11. Of course, that was the new Pearl Harbor, and in Pearl Harbor, that was when the USS Arizona sank, and that's when they were last in the World Series. But something that I found out, so we had all these 73s with Theodore Herzl, David Ben-Gurion, Gaza, the Yom Kippur War was in 1973. And back in the 2001 MLB season, the last day of the season was postponed from September 30th, so 9/30, to October 7th. So like 93, got like all the Jesus references there. And 10/7, that was the same day that U.S. invaded Afghanistan, and also the same day this year that the Israel-Palestine conflict began. And remember, the Rangers got their 93rd win of the season on 10/7 this year. And so anyways, at the end of the 2001 season, the Rangers beat the Mariners in the final game on 10/7 to get their 73rd win of the season. And the winning pitcher for the Rangers that day was Pat Mahomes Sr. And they said he finished with a 7-6 record that year, like skull and bones. And he finished with 107 innings pitched and 56 appearances. And earlier this year, you had his son, Mahomes II, in the Super Bowl in Arizona, which he won, where they had 73 combined points. And of course, the Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans, and that was Super Bowl 57, like World Series equals 57. And now you have the Dallas area team playing the Arizona team in the World Series.
Okay. Yeah, good observations.
Right, and then also we have all this creed symbolism, like the Rangers, they've been like jamming out to a Creed song during this postseason run, and they had an Assassin's Creed video game coming out. So like Creed is a very religious term, in this time that it's no coincidence that those things are coming out.
Okay. Yeah. Good observations. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and then also this one last thing, I did go out to the Rangers. It was game 4 that I went out, and the people there weren't really interested in interacting. I was able to like have a conversation with a couple of people, but most people that like, if I started talking to them and they started talking to me, they just like kept on walking.
For sure.
And yeah, that's all I've got. I'll let the rest of the callers get on.
All right, Evan. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Shoot, he hung up so fast. I'm like, where were we next in line? Let's go out to 661. 661, you're on.
Hello?
Hello?
My bad. Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Hey. All right, so we're talking about like how like the religions, right? And how some people think that their religions are like the greatest. But I think that, to be real, I think like you're on the perfect path, you know? And I feel like most Christians, they're not aligned with they're not spiritual. It's a difference between being spiritual and being religious. So at the end of the day, people mess up. I don't even think they're messing up. I feel like they're just purposely avoiding the truth and just being ignorant. Because a lot of these religions, or a lot of these people who are in these religions and go to these churches, whatever, you could be Jewish, Catholic, Christian, all these people are ignorant because they don't ask questions. They don't ask any questions at all. They don't try to rebuttal anything. They just follow everything straight by the book. And it's like, okay, who wrote the book? It had to be men. Men are, okay, people, there's a saying that goes, women lie, men lie, numbers don't, right?
Right.
That saying's been around for years. So at the end of the day, men wrote the Bible, right? But numbers don't lie. Men wrote the Bible, so men do lie. So at the end of the day, they're not trying to decode anything in their religious text that they read or anything that the pastor tells them or anything. They don't ever try to decode that. They just follow it like the other dude said, a parrot. Literally.
Yeah.
They're not, and that's why, yeah.
I was going to say, a parrot is a good term because they all kind of just regurgitate the same lines and it doesn't seem like they put a lot of thought into them. And again, I mean, I don't even think the average Christian realizes that Jesus spoke in parables, which are riddles. And why? Exactly. Why would something be in riddle form? And is that not what we're exposing over here? How kind of like every day riddles are laid before our eyes, and it's almost like we're not meant to solve them. We're just meant to believe them without even thinking about it because it came from the authorities. Exactly. So, I try to be real consistent about getting people to think. Everyone should appreciate how consistent I am. And my opinions will change based on evidence. And I feel like everyone should be that way. But I'm just trying to show people how we've been lied to by the authorities and how you can see through this knowledge, how from the news to the pastor to what's in the book, it's all clearly been put together by this same secret society, if you will, the one that's ruling over us right now. And I don't know why so many people are. Well, I do. I'm actually lying when I say that. I do get why so many people will dismiss the news and see through that authority, but they will not do it with their religion. And you hear it in their own words when they call in. They say, someday we're all going to die. And Zach, you might go to hell because you don't believe in what I believe in. It's like, see, that's ultimately all it boils down to for you. You want this eternal afterlife. Exactly. And you're not going to go against the story because essentially you've placed your bet on it. You're betting big on that's the right way. And again, people can believe that all they want. That's fine. But just don't be demonizing somebody else because they're not living in fear, essentially. Like, that's the difference between me and the Christian. I'm saying, well, you know what? I was raised on that story too, but I don't think that's the way Creator would be, that he would just punish us in the eternal hellfire because we question the story in the book. And so, anyway.
And also, to like, for the little shooting in Maine, for Robert Carr, it's actually RC, his initials. So it's like RC Christian.
Yeah, on the Georgia
I'm
Guidestones.
okay.
Yeah, indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed. All right, well, we're almost out of show. I do appreciate your call.
All right.
Let a few more people get in. Thanks. You. You have a good night. All right. Illinois, 708.
Hey, Zach, what's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man. Yeah, I just wanted to add on to the religious theme that you've been talking about on this, and say some things about the number 74 that I know you've talked about a lot on your channel. But did you happen to know that a dark-skinned man equals 74?
I never decoded that phrase. That's interesting. Okay.
Right, and you know how Jesus is given the description of a black man in the Bible, and Jesus equals 74? And you see how and did you also know that the original spelling of Africans was with a K, not a C, and kill Africans equals 201, another number you've talked about a lot?
Huh, no, I hadn't decoded that either. Interesting.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that and thinking about all those 201s in Egypt and Israel 201 and Pyramid of Giza, and how it also talks about slavery and sacrifice in the Bible and how Jesus was, a sacrifice. And it was just it makes me think about how the Bible, these people talking about how their religion is so righteous and their God is so righteous. And they think that this is the end all be all, is the truth for sure, right? But it's so many black people who follow this religion, and I'm black myself, so I could say that I could talk about this and hopefully, people ain't gonna think I'm racist or against my own people, but whatever. It's my idea is we all each other's people. We all human. It's one race, the human race. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying the Bible does talk a lot about killing black people, slavery, dark-skinned man, the Jesus being described with that description, I believe is some kind of encoding there with in order to kill black people, especially with the way black people turn up dead, the police brutality, so many things, the experiments, the Tuskegee 201 experiment, where they took 600 black men, I believe, and they didn't, infect 201 of them with syphilis to see, or they didn't treat 201 infected with syphilis to see how, syphilis would affect them if untreated. They took 201 of them. So I see stuff like that, and it's just I believe it's, a whole plan. The Bible speaks of it it's part of their prophecy to take out dark-skinned people. Plus, when you think about so many years of black and brown-skinned people, their countries being invaded and taken over and, raped and pillaged, you see that stuff, and it's just it's spoken of in the Bible, and saying speaking of slavery, it's okay. It's spoken of in the Bible. Kill Africans equals 201 if you remove the C in African and put a K, which is the original spelling of African.
Again, here I have to make this point. This is what I taught in Buffalo, and this is how I broke through to the Hebrew Israelites there. I showed them Gematria and how white supremacist equals 74, like Jewish, like occult, like Masonic, like Jesus, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. And then I told them about how Tupac was killed on white Jesus' birthday, at least so we're told. And then they put out the album Machiavelli with the hit song Hail Mary Catholic, a hymn on the cross on the very Jesuit day. And again, it's the 74th birthday of Israel, the day of the top shooting in Buffalo, a predominantly black neighborhood blamed on a white supremacist, which again equals 74. And you got this whitewashing of history, and you got these repetitive rituals over and over with the killing of darker complected people by this same code. It does almost, what you just said about how it almost seems like the system was made up to justify this or have the ritualism of this. It does almost seem that way. But again, I mean, you just look at all these pieces, you can see that this is definitely what they're doing. Again, you take, the Book of Enoch. In the Book of Enoch, it's revealed that, again, Noah has, I cannot think right now. But anyhow, the oldest person in the Old Testament is Methuselah, whose skin is dark. And then you have the albino child, Noah. And so you can see that the true Hebrews, the true Israelites in the Bible are darker complected people. Now we're looking at Israel, supposedly the Jewish nation, and everybody looks European there. Again, just the systemic whitewashing of history. And who's getting blasted right now? The darker complected people in Gaza, while Gaza's 74 years old. So, anyhow.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's like, you just told me a lot of knowledge that I didn't even know about that stuff. But yeah, exactly. You are spot on with that.
So yeah, that's the way I see it. And again, all I'm going off of is the evidence and the patterns and what we've been documenting and trying to make sense of the verses and what's going on in the world. And there's white supremacy is a real thing in the world, and so is religious supremacy. And a lot of the Zionist Judaism really does bring it together. And again, it needs to be called out. But here we live in this day and age where if you kind of specify that, like this whole video is actually at risk just for me saying that. I've lost many of videos for making that point, and that should also speak to the fact of, well, it must be true then if they have to keep deleting the message. So anyway, we're almost out of show. There's a few more people to let on, but I appreciate your call and your thoughts and your observations. So thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Have a good night.
Yeah, you have a good night. And a lot of people get offended when I say that, but again, I mean, have we not been showing how this same pattern just goes on over and over and over and over? I mean, and it's going on right now. So if I'm misinterpreting it, then what is it actually? And let's go out to 951. 951, you're on. (951) Hello? All right, they must just be listening. Let's go out to 347. 347, you're on.
Zach, how's it going? It's Gabe.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? I want to be off topic and talk to you about the shooting that's just happening right now.
Okay.
If you look at the map, today leaves 67 days left in the year. Satanic is 67.
Right, just like the shooter's name.
There's two shootings.
The shooter's name is 67 as well.
Shootings. Wow. Yeah, so there's two shooting locations. If you look at the map, one of the locations is right, it just shows you the map. It shows Devil's Groove Disc Golf. So, yeah, I just want to point that out. If you look at the mayor of that town, on his Instagram post, he said, "Watch the news tonight," his last post. So that might be a little bit predictive programming.
Okay.
The only NHL game today was the Devils versus the Capitals. I coded that up for the Capitals to win over the Satanic numbers. So, it's just religion and the calendar that we live in. The Catholic Church is pure evil, man. Just want to point that out where one of the shootings is at. It's just right next to this place called Devil's Groove Disc Golf, the golf course.
Right.
And it shows it on the map if you look it up.
Right.
That's it,
Well, great observations as always, Gabe. Keep it up. Thank you.
All right, talk to you
Yeah,
later.
take care. Okay. Yeah, we're almost out of show. And again, part of what prompted this topic tonight is because I just get tired of reading condescending religious people's comments. Just essentially, just belittling what I think about spirituality and everyone's connection with Creator, regardless of what their religion is. And I always just wonder where these people even get on the high horse at. It's like, okay, I have a body of work that I've put out for the world for the last decade, and I know it's helped bring a lot of truth and light to the world. Like if you're so much holier than me, like where's your body of work to help the world? If you don't think that I'm connected with Creator and doing inspired work, then show me what you're doing. Like, why are you in my comment section ragging on me simply because we have a different religious perspective? I feel like, again, if the Goetia is true and there's 72 demons of the Goetia, I feel like somehow the Christian religion has put a demon in a lot of its followers because they don't really care about other people. They ultimately care that they're the most right. And if they have this simple belief by believing in this entity in this book, that they're going to get this eternal reward and that's all they need to do, that just doesn't sound right to me. It's like, really? That's what Creator would want, for you just to believe a story in a book for the eternal afterlife, not like go out and live a selfless life and be a service and help people out, young, old, everyone. Again, I know I've lived a life of service, and it started before even I started teaching about this. And again, for all the people who come in and attack me, here's what I want you to do. For the next person who attacks me, I want you to stop whatever your job is right now, and I want you to work every single day for the next 5 years. Every single day. You don't get any days off. You have to work every single day for the next 5 years, and you don't make one penny either. Because I did that, and I did that at a timely time, if you will, in 2013, because I saw that things were getting real bad. And like I said back then, if we don't wake up by 2020, things are going to start to get real ugly in this world. And that's why I spent 5 years, day and night, educating people about what I knew and what was coming and who's in control and what needs to be stopped. And again, I think I have more than made my point. So if you have some other religion and you have some other greater contribution because of it, show me what that contribution is. Maybe that's something I'd listen to. We'll be back next week. Till next time, Truth Seeker. Okay, that is the end of TFR. And thank you to all the people who called in tonight. And say thank you to the super chatters real quick one more time. 13 Serpents let us off. Thank you very much again, friend. Clinton Raspberry became a member. Thank you. Shout out to Nathan who chipped in 5. Shout out to Truth Matters 222 chipped in 5. Truth Does Not Exist became a member. Eloy Garcia chipped in 5. Thank you again. Paula has been a member for 8 months. Wow, I've had the member ability for 8 months now. That's amazing. That means this is the longest I've ever been monetized without being demonetized. And that was actually why I set up the members thing. I was like, maybe that'll keep them from demonetizing me, because normally my monetization, which is hard enough to get in the first place, normally it only lasts about 2 months before they take it away. And then Paula the Kitchen Witch also donated $10. Thank you times 2. Thank you again, Truth Matters 222. Thank you again, Eloy Garcia. Thank you, Gematria 101. And they noticed that the calendar is 441 years old right now. The Catholic calendar, square root of 21 on that number. Shout out to Richard Quinn. You didn't have to do that. And thank you again, John Mendoza. Truth Does Not Exist. Frank the Truth Tank. Lauren Nelson. Real Talk. And Dread Pirate Roberts, as well as Logan Thomas. He said Creed over Nickelback all day, day. I remember when Creed was like every song on the radio. I was still in high school. Logan Thomas said, religion is a trap to answer the age-old question of why was I born? No one else can answer that question but you, and you create the answer. Yeah, everybody wants to be the most right, and everybody wants to, do what they got to do to satisfy their ego. And it's obvious that religion, it's become a big part about that. Yeah, indeed, Shane. I'm glad Shane recognizes it. Yeah, I just got so many haters, and it's like, man, do you know how much time I sacrifice, time and energy, and potential wealth? Not to mention, I pretty much lost the business I had that was a big time moneymaker way back in 2014, a year into this work. And I'm pretty sure that what happened to that business would not have happened had I not been teaching this online. So. Thanks again, Carl. Carl's up early in the UK. Hope you're doing well, Carl. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, Truth, I saw your comment. Truth does not exist. To drive to where mushrooms are from here is about 4 hours each way, so it's probably about 500 miles. And gas is about $5 a gallon. So if you want to cover the gas for that trip, it's gonna be pretty pricey. But yeah, the season's over right now. Once the first frost comes, the mushrooms are dead. So you got to get them before. Well, it's probably right about this time. Usually the middle of October is usually the prime time to get the cyanescence mushrooms in Washington State. By the way, if you guys have not seen the show on Netflix, The Fall of the House of Usher, I think that's another good show to watch just in terms of, insights from Hollywood about what's really going on in the world. So, very interesting show. Yeah, I guess that's another thing to think about. Just reading people's comments in the chat. Um, the cabal, the ruling class, just working in the realm of deception all the time. Hold on, let me take this call real quick. I don't think this is DK's number. 201.
Hey Zach, what's up? I kind of wanted to call in about the topic because I called in with that decode. I don't know. I kind of consider myself to be an atheist, but I do think that there is probably something out there. I don't know if I would call it a god, but maybe some kind of force or creature that maybe people don't fully understand. But even though I don't believe in that, my mom actually she died and they revived her, and she didn't see anything when she was during the time that she was dead. There wasn't anything, so I don't believe in any afterlife or anything like that. And I don't think I'll necessarily be rewarded for doing good, but I don't think that even though I don't feel like I'd ever be held accountable for my actions by any force of the universe or whatever, I still think that doing what's right is that I should do what's right. Even though nobody's gonna hold me accountable, it doesn't matter. I think that I should just do what's right because it's what's right, and I know what's right and wrong. Just based on discernment. I don't need any book to tell me anything. I can discern whether something I think is right or wrong, and it doesn't really affect my day-to-day life. That I don't do anything wrong because nobody's gonna punish me. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just gonna do what's right because that's what should be done. And I think that that's probably what other people should do too. And I wouldn't want to do something to screw other people over, even though I don't think that some god or deity or whatever is gonna punish me. I still don't think that makes it whatever I would do right. I don't know. I just wanted to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, you should do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to be rewarded. That's like a little kid's mentality. So yeah, I think your sentiment is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. But yeah, and a lot of Christian people and religious people, they still do wrong things, even though they do think that, and sometimes that's the problem. See, sometimes they, Christian people or whatever religious people, they'll do something wrong that they know is wrong. And then they'll say, oh, well, my God's going to forgive me. Oh, well, if I just believe in Jesus, then, my sins are going to be gone. So sometimes it can actually be the opposite. And, a lot of people, they think that the Bible has, that the Bible is like a moral compass, but it kind of really isn't. I mean, there's a lot of immoral things that in the Bible that God does and stuff, and it doesn't really make any sense. Like, the book that talks about like dashing babies' heads on rocks isn't necessarily something that I would want to use to tell me. That's not a book I would want to use to tell me what's right or wrong, because I think that clearly it's obviously not. Whoever wrote that book would be a very sick person. And I guess most people just don't. Maybe most people are sick. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people in religion, it doesn't stop them from doing bad things. Sometimes they think that they're just going to be forgiven for whatever wrong things that they do, so they keep doing them, and those people do tend to be the worst. They tend to always think that they're righteous and go to war with whatever people. And they also are like the most presumptuous. Like, I have people from my church, like from my old church, like, blowing up my phone, sending me like literature and stuff. And it's like, even though I don't believe it, they like can't accept that I've grown beyond that. They're just like, oh yeah, well, you believe. It's like, no, I don't. And like sending me literature, it doesn't make me believe. It's just annoying,
Sure.
Like,
hey, by the way, I saw the other day you played the video about how Joe Biden could be somebody wearing a mask. I think what it actually is that he's had a lot of plastic surgery, and because they pulled his skin back to make his face tighter. So when you pull the skin back on older people and they do that, it ends up going on their neck. So that's why, like, when that angle of him pushing on his neck and then his skin clumping up and then falling back down, I think that's what that actually is. So
I've heard of that. One time what I saw was somebody showed a video of him earlier in the day with the detached earlobe, and then later in the day he was giving another speech and he was talking a little bit different, and his earlobe was attached and it was the same ear. I find it pretty weird. I don't think that.
I got to look at that. I haven't seen that one before. Okay, that's interesting, but he's definitely had plastic surgery to his face to make his skin look tighter. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. Take care. Okay. Yeah. Again, the main shooting wasn't the topic tonight, but what do you know? Gematria just pokes through it in no time. Just same old patterns we talked about. The shooter's name 67 days left in the year. They got to tell you he has a 4/4 birthday. It's just like, come on. If you guys don't know, I have a book, Letters and Numbers, and in that book, there's a chapter in the book that's over 100 pages long about 4 decades of mass shootings and how prominent the number 44 is in the shootings in the news over and over. What's up, DK?
You know what's funny? I'm trying to call you from my other phone. Watch, listen, what happens.
It's working. You want me to answer it there?
Oh, it is working now?
Yeah.
That's so weird. It doesn't matter what.
Look, I'll answer it. See?
Oh, that's weird. I tried to call. It was going straight to voicemail, and it happened, what was the last show you did maybe a few weeks ago? It was doing the same thing. I'm like, this is weird. Either he has his phone off or something, but then somebody else would call in and it worked. So I was like, oh, that's strange. Okay. Never mind then. Since you haven't been on, I got some old stuff. You may have even gone over it, but the fact that you were gone for a while allowed me to catch up to some of those really long streams that you had. which I thought were awesome. I listened to you at like 1.5 speed, so you sound like a genius talking that fast, you know. And I guess you have been smoking a little bit recently, so I thought those streams were actually just probably some of the best ones ever. When you're out pounding pavement, if you could just like do a, you know, kind of just like reboot that stream in your brain and just come out with that, it's just like amazing. All right, let me start getting into it. First, I'll do the religious stuff. So, Isa was Yeshua's name in the Far East in India, where he went to learn all this stuff first in Egypt, then in India to learn Ayurvedic healing and such. And then when he came back to Rome, then when he was allegedly crucified and resurrected, he went back to the Far East and became basically what we now call like a Buddhist monk, where his name was Isa. So that's why we have those two names. The Isus thing is a whole, that's a conjuring up of probably some word magic, because in the Slavic languages, including in Croatian, it's still Isus in the Roman Latin verbiage. And then the one guy, the Muslim guy who called in and said that everybody's regurgitating, and then he went, the earth is flat, the earth is flat. So I don't know where he's regurgitating the 2015 PSYOP. But all right, let me get into some of this stuff. This one is old. Did you know that Trump had a 19-car convoy? Did you go over that when he went and turned himself in?
I didn't catch that detail, no.
Yeah. Also, you're aware that Javier is James in English, right?
Okay.
So that King Javier Black, that's King James Black.
That's a good point.
And then it's Disney's 100-year anniversary, so Vans is sending me all kinds of emails. They're doing all kinds of Vans anniversary shoes, just a ton of checkerboards, of course. But I want to ask you, did you know what Vans means? Just the name Vans? Okay, so you know how the logo is Vans. The V actually extends over the ANS. The top of the right side of the V goes all the way over the rest of the letters.
Sure, yeah.
So it actually stands for square root answer. Like the V is the square root sign and then answer underneath ANS.
Interesting, okay.
That's what Vans means. You were talking a lot about the movie recently, They Clone Tyrone. Right. I think this other movie may be of interest to you. It's called Infinity Pool, where to join this elite group, you have to let them clone you, and then you have to kill your own clone. You have to sacrifice the clone, and then to keep being part of it, they keep doing it over and over. I guess that's where they get the name Infinity Pool. But you have to kill your own clone. So whether, something like that is even going on, who knows? Like to kind of be part of the club. Can you go to your email? I sent you a couple of emails.
Okay.
Tell me, I guess pull them up in order. I guess so. The one you have lowest on your list, pull that one and tell me what the subject is, and then I'll talk about it.
Did you send it to GematriaEffectNews?
Yeah. This is another one you probably went over while you're pulling that up. Did you know at Prop 47 in California is you could steal up to $950 and then the cops won't come after you? Are those two numbers related, 47 and 95?
Well, I mean, I could connect them. I don't know if they're necessarily connected. The word beast is 47, and if you spell out 666, it equals 95, and then Vatican's 47, and this year the Super Bowl's on the 95th birthday of the Vatican. But how old is that law?
I think it's pretty recent because, I'm sure you've been hearing like all the stores are getting not necessarily looted, but there's shoplifting, shoplifting's gone rampant because nobody could do anything. And, I talked to the security guards at stores and they're like, I can't do nothing. People walk out with full carts of groceries. There's nothing I could do. As long as it's like, the cops ain't coming unless it's like maybe a whole cart full of alcohol. It's like thousands of dollars, but most people are just stealing, a few $100 worth and they can't do anything about it because of Prop 47.
Yeah, all by design. So
Did you pull? Are you at those emails yet?
yeah,
What's the first one that you're pulling up?
Saint Sergius and Bacchus were 3rd century Roman soldiers.
Yeah. So what did you say? The October 7th is anniversary of what?
Well, it's the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan, but I see these guys also have a feast day.
Yeah, it's an International Faggot Day, I guess. You know.
Yeah, I never knew about this, so that's interesting.
Oh, what's the next email?
Let me see. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick kissing on the lips. Okay.
Oh, that's not just Bill Belichick. That's a bunch of different dudes. That's the owner of the team. That's just those. I think it's all different guys in every picture. I think that he's kissing.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah. Here's another one. You may have gone over this before. Did you know that Mario Bergoglio, back when he was Archbishop, actually worked for the CIA at Operation Condor?
The Pope was a member of the CIA?
Well, he was working with the CIA in Operation Condor. I mean, they didn't his name wouldn't probably be on a plaque at Langley or anything, but
I know I'd have to look. I did not know that. So
yeah, just look up Operation Condor and you probably find that info. Did you know also the Pope works at 666 United Nations Plaza?
I didn't know that either, huh?
And then the UN has a base at the top of Mount Hermon where the fallen angels allegedly descended down onto Earth to, and that's on the 33rd parallel. And then the Tower of Babel was also on the 33rd parallel, allegedly.
Okay.
What's the next thing you got? What's the next email you got up?
I think that's it. Oh wait, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Yeah, you got that too.
Okay, let me tell you that story. So, my buddy at the gym is a big Samoan guy. Actually, he's like half Samoan, half Hawaiian. So, just safe to say he's huge. So he does EP work, which is executive protection. You know, in layman's terms, it's bodyguarding. He works for like a pretty high-end company here in LA. They do all like the entertainers. So he was just in Arizona for the Taylor Swift concert, bodyguarding for Taylor Swift and her entourage, which includes her family and friends and Travis Kelce. So it was in Prescott. So he was there for like 4 or 5 days with them. And then right on the tail end of that, it's like 10 guys they put on that detail, plus Taylor Swift's personal, bodyguarding crew. But they always need more. So there was 10 guys that got sent out from the company that my buddy works for. And he said, they're in their hotel room whenever they need to go down to the lobby or out to the car, whatever. So they're all around him at all times of day. He said during that time, he did not see them hug, kiss, hold hands, nothing whatsoever, which makes absolutely no sense if they're in a relationship. And if you look at that picture right there, he's throwing up the devil horn sign, and he's got the shirt with the phoenix on it, which is a big a big logo for these Kabbalists. Reminds you of Operation Phoenix at the end of World War II, where they were running opium and heroin out of Burma to CIA. So it's like, these guys are such, it's like walking advertisements, basically. So another totally fake relationship. And then we got another couple, Gabby Petitos. The one you just mentioned, the name of that guy, what was that guy's name? Card? His last name Card. I got to think about that one for a second. But I'm glad the one caller called in and mentioned about the Economist cover with the paratroopers coming down, just like how they had the paratroopers allegedly come down at that festival, the EDM festival in Israel, and that was the whole thing, the whole attack. And the pretty girl that you showed on there, Mia Shem. So Shem is the real Jews would be the tribe of Shem, or the Shemites, where we get Semites and the fake word anti-Semitic, Shemitic. So like, I'm sure her name was really Mia Shem, and if she's Israeli, obviously she's not. She's a fake, would be a fake Jew, not at all from the tribe of Shem. And then you had the other one, Samantha Wool, like pull the wool over your eyes. These are all just totally, these are all Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie names. Like, come on. And then what was that? What was the name of that city they bombed in Gaza? It was literally something like Ashkenazi land or something super close to that. Like,
sure.
Come on. What else? Let me see. What else did I have here written down? Oh yeah. After hearing your stories, I'm going to send you another email right now. After hearing some of those stories you laid out, of if you were like had trolls following you and all that stuff for a long man. The one guy you said where he had a bag full of like wrinkled up money and stuff. So they've been following you around for who knows how long. You know what I mean? There's no way any of that stuff is legit. I'm going to send you one more email right here. That was all just you, them basically, I think, gauging you, like how close they can get to you, with just various paid for, I'm sure they were all of the same ethnicity. But this one's going to be Back to the Future. Do you remember where Marty, when he goes back to the future, he sees where like he actually lives, like in his present time, that it's just being built, and it was the Lyon Estates. Of course, Lyon is the famous city in France, means lion. But so let me get down to that one. Okay, so the Lyon Estates, the only thing that was when he went back into the future, when he went back into the past, he showed up to where he lived, and it wasn't there. It was just the two lions that were like on the sides of the entry gate to get into the Lyon Estates. And listen to this little clip from that I'm going to read. In 1955, the Lyon Estates was in the very early stages of construction with only the iron statues in place of the lions. For the coming winter, the future housing development was advertised on the billboard, promising the opportunity to live in the home of tomorrow today. The billboard portrayed a house resembling the house the McFlys would live in 30 years later. In the early morning of November 5th, of course, Marty hid the DeLorean time machine behind the billboard. So I don't know if you remember those dates from the movie, but it was they use like the Ides of March, November 5th. I mean, it was just like every single date out of that movie is related to these ritual dates. Let me see if I had anything else. Oh yeah, and then there's another. It's called The Devil Conspiracy. Another movie is a powerful biotech company has a breakthrough technology allowing them to clone history's most influential people with just a few fragments of DNA. Behind this company is a cabal of Satanists that steals the shroud of Christ, putting them in possession of Jesus's DNA. This is the Devil Conspiracy is another one you may be interested in checking out. I think that's all that I have on this one. I can make a couple comments. I know you did that long stream about that guy. The Matrix being like an agent or something. So I think from Richard Quinn or one of these guys, they became my friend he became my friend on social media. So I was just kind of looking through his stuff, his account, like what he posts, all this stuff, like how you were saying he's posting a bunch of bullshit and stuff. So I was the posts are all like very like generic, and I was just thinking, I'm like, it kind of does it remember the guy? What was that guy's name that was part of the Black Lives Matter? Jafari something. Remember that guy?
When we were out in Buffalo, the guy that disambiguation, Nathan figured out who he was and did the video.
Yeah, I was like, does he write the Matrix like look like that guy or remind you of that guy kind of?
Well, they were there at the same time. They're not the same people.
And they were there at the same time? Oh, shit.
They're not the same people, though. No.
No, I'm not saying they're the same people. I'm just saying, like, they kind of look the same, right? Like, they have the long dreads with the thing, like their actual, the way they dress and everything. Am I tripping, or do they look a lot alike?
I don't think they look that much alike. They both had dreads, but they definitely act a lot different. And funny enough, I remember, yeah, right, the Matrix was getting real annoyed and wanted to get out of there real quick when that guy started messing with us. But
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the guy at all, so I really can't say much. But I was just noticing, I'm like, oh, these guys look a lot alike. The Matrix guy looks to be a lot more light skinned than the other guy, but they both just seem like kind of like tall, skinny guys with dreads. Oh, and another thing, you were talking about how the culture, how it's a cult. A culture is also an experiment. In biology class, when you make a culture, you get the petri dish with the auger inside, and then that's how you start your experiment. So not only is it a cult, it's also an experiment.
Sure, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I can't find anything else on these notes that I just texted to myself. It's been a long time since I've been on, probably like a month, so I'm sure some other stuff that I missed will be on my other device.
Sure.
Come up with that at some other point.
All right. Well, appreciate the information as always. Thank you, DK.
All right. Thanks for taking the call, Zach.
Yeah, take care. See you.
Okay, bye.
All right. So thanks to everyone who called in tonight. Thank you to all the donors. And I don't think we got any of the calls from the people that leave the constant posts. It's just like, are people just too afraid to call in? I think that should be your standard. Don't leave the comment. Don't write down the comment if you're not willing to say it out loud. That's the whole problem with online communication. People just writing crazy things on the internet, things they don't even mean, things from their anonymous account. And then even when you call in on a phone line, you're still pretty anonymous. But it's just like, if you can't call in and express it, there's no reason to leave the comment either. Rambo on the Ides of March, he kind of had a tantrum on the show, and then he never called back in, and that was the 74th day of the year, and then he deleted his own channel on 7/4. So, kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if there was some ritualism to what he was doing or what, but he said he was thinking about calling back in, but I was texting with him one time on a show, and he said he would think about calling back in, but he was worried that if he called back in, people would harass him in his own life. He said from doing the work, it's brought, unwanted attention and harassment in his own life. And I don't doubt that. I mean, I've had to put up with a lot of that. So he lives in New York City. There's more people in New York. He could be getting more harassment there. Hard to say, but maybe one day he'll call back in and become a regular caller again. You just never know. So, what DK was talking about with the incident in Buffalo, there was a paid-for Black Lives Matter protester. He wasn't like a legitimate protester. He was like paid for by the state type of guy. And he was trying to break up what we were doing in Buffalo. And I was talking to this... at one point, I was talking to a mother and her little daughter, and I had the little daughter on the camera, and she was telling her story. And if you guys, I think the video is still out there, that live stream. It's a long live stream because we were all out there all day in Buffalo, but it's near the end of it. The girl is probably like maybe 6, 7 years old, and her mom was Muslim, actually. I remember that. But the little girl was explaining all her thoughts about why somebody would shoot a bunch of strangers in a grocery store. And I just remember the Black Lives Matter protester, he was getting annoyed. And he got on his megaphone and he tried to disrupt it and break it up. And I was like, this guy, man, this guy is so bad. He was making everything about race. He was saying I was the wrong race for the neighborhood. So he was about the only person we had a problem with. The paid-for Black Lives Matter protester. But Nathan did some research and found out who he was. He was an entertainer. It's goes on the stage, he performs, he dances, so he's a performance artist. His name was Jafari Jones. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And thank you again to everyone who hits the like, leaves a comment, hits the share, anything that helps out the algorithm. And I might end up doing a separate video on this Maine shooting as well. So I think that's it for now. And until next time, have a good night, everyone.